Podmortem would like to thank Original Cinematic for sponsoring this week's episode. Original Cinematic is an independent production company that has made it their mission to create, produce, and promote films that are inclusive, honor women, promote the LGBTQIA+ community, and provide prominent positions and roles to POC actors and filmmakers, and promote the films of marginalized and underrepresented populations. These are all things that are extremely important to our podcast as well.
Original Cinematic is currently accepting scripts and treatments. Both William and Xxena Rush are also available via email or Zoom to discuss writing and provide input and resources to all aspiring writers free of charge. Their information will be made available in the show notes. There may be delays due to a hectic schedule and all projects being read on a first-come, first-served basis, but everything will be read and responded to. William Rush has individually produced numerous projects, including Pack is Here, Before, The Cottage, The Winemaker, and Day by Day. Their award-winning film Group premiered and was celebrated at multiple film festivals as well as screenings both in person and via Zoom that was graciously made available to us and our patrons.
Original Cinematic has many exciting projects on the horizon. Their next film, Immersion, has been completed. The award-winning Sweetener is in development. Fetish begins shooting in September, and Encore will begin next spring. Their documentary, Women in Conversation, is slated for a September release, and we are looking forward to each and every one of them. It is truly an honor to partner with Original Cinematic, and we can't thank them enough for their contribution to our show. And now, back to our regularly scheduled program.
Salutations! Welcome to Podmortem. I'm Reneé Hunter-Vasquez, joined as always by my co-host, my husband, and my brother.
Hi, I'm John Paul Vasquez.
Hi, I'm Travis Hunter-Sayapin.
This week, we're recording live from Test Village 3B, discussing the 2006 horror remake, The Hills Have Eyes. This film was directed by Alexandre Aja, with the screenplay by Aja and Gregory Levasseur, based on the original film by Wes Craven. As lifelong Wes Craven fans, Aja and Levasseur jumped at the opportunity to adapt one of his most famous works. With the intention of paying homage to the original film, while still injecting their own story into this new version, they brought a fresh take to their first American film. With realistic characters, memorable creature design, and impressive sets, The Hills Have Eyes has earned its spot as a favorite in early 2000s horror. This film was requested to us by friend of the show, Film Fiend. We want to thank Film Fiend for the support as well as this suggestion. This film was also the winner of our November Patreon poll, so thank you to all of our patrons who participated and voted. If you want to help us pick an episode, join us on Patreon at patreon.com/thepodmortem. So, what did you guys think of The Hills Have Eyes the first time you saw it?
So this was a movie that I have always been, I guess, conscious of. Like, I've always known that it existed. I've never seen it. I know the poster from the original. Mm-hmm. That's probably all I know of
with
the
Michael
series.
Berryman.
Yeah. That's it. So this is fresh watch, fresh everything. I have no idea, story, anything. Something goes on, and I think this movie is a way that it's not, or like it's going to go the way that I think it is, and it doesn't. For me, fresh watch, like I said, not knowing anything, I'm going to be honest. This isn't a movie for me. I don't know if there is a small story there. I don't know if it's just kind of how the things play out or like how we're following and what we're doing. But a lot of this stuff, like the effects, real quick, the effects, fantastic, like really, really good. But everything else really just didn't work for me. I couldn't relate to kind of anything here. Watching it just kind of go on. Some of the things were just kind of like happening to happen or to get us somewhere that we needed to be. And a lot of it didn't, it really didn't, I didn't have my eyes on it. You know what I mean?
Yes.
It just not didn't work.
I actually, Nay and I grew up kind of with this. I think we were, what would that be, 15 and 17 when it came out?
Yeah, I guess.
Because I remember going to the theater to see it, and then we had the unrated DVD.
Okay.
And we watched it from time to time. But it was one of those films, kind of like we talked about on The Devil's Rejects, where we were just like, it feels cool because it's gritty and edgy.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
And then now watching it at the ripe old age of 34,
Yeah.
I'm like, you know what? It's all right. It's not as good as I remember. There are elements that I do appreciate.
Mm-hmm.
I think that a lot of the things that they do with the production design, there is one location that is really cool
Yeah.
that I would have loved to spend more time in.
Oh, yeah.
I think that the cinematography is fairly remarkable
Yeah.
with what they're doing, and it's never easy to make horror in the daylight.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that is something that they accomplish kind of well from time to time in this.
Right.
But I don't know. There's something about the characters that they're frustrating.
Yes. Yeah.
Especially one character who we will get to, who, by virtue of keeping his mouth shut for reasons undetermined, kind of sets this whole thing into motion and makes everything a lot worse.
Right.
And then there's also, for me anyway, I do not like the protagonist that we end up with.
Mm-hmm.
I know it's more of an ensemble situation, but there's one clear lead
Right.
after a certain point. I feel like it should have been someone else. I feel like they were setting up for it to be someone else, and then it just wasn't.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't know if maybe that has something to do with how it works in the original.
Right. Right.
And kind of keeping it in line with the same narrative. But if you're going to, again, remaking a film,
Mm-hmm.
you don't have to do a carbon copy. You can do whatever you want with it.
Yeah.
You can make it your own, and they do in one way that, again, I would have loved if they leaned into more.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
But there's just, I don't know, maybe it is just a matter of kind of missed opportunities. And I will admit, I watched the original The Hills Have Eyes when I was much younger, and I do not really remember a lot about it. I might have been too young to enjoy or appreciate it.
Yeah. Yeah.
Because it was one of those films like we talked about on The Crazies whenever I watched George Romero's original, and I was just too young, and I was like, boring.
Yeah.
And it's probably not.
Right. Right.
It's probably great in its own way, but I just wasn't at the age to receive it. But I think that this kind of falls in line with that thing about early 2000s horror that, for me, makes it my least favorite era of horror.
Okay.
There are some gems in early 2000s, of course, but for me, by and large, there's a lot of films like this. And I don't like it. So it doesn't work for me that well, but there are things that I understand absolutely why it works for other people.
No. Yeah.
And there are things that I do appreciate. I just don't think they outweigh what I don't.
Mm-hmm.
I think that's fair. I have not seen this since I was a teenager. There are aspects, I'll just say, the reason for these villains, quote unquote, being the way that they are, I didn't remember that aspect of it. And when I learned about it, I was immediately like, yes, this is going to be fun. And we don't go down that path far enough for me. I wanted more on that. I want more of these people in the hills, how they relate to each other.
Yeah.
I feel, and it is odd because, like you said, T, it recalling my feelings for this film before, I remember liking it, and maybe in that same vein as The Devil's Rejects and House of a Thousand Corpses, but it did not stick to my bones in the way that those did.
Oh, no.
Okay.
I think that there is a lot of brutality to this film, but I think the difference there is, I mean, the Fireflies, okay? Whether you like them or not, very memorable.
Character.
Right.
They're characters. I feel like we don't fully get that here. I don't even know. I think that despite its brutality, and like we said before, the effects work is fantastic. There's a lot of great practical work and a lot of assist from digital effects that is mostly very subtle that I do appreciate. But I feel like we don't go far enough down any path for it to be that, oh my God, that movie's fucking crazy or whatever, to stick with you in that way. I want these characters to be more They're mutants, okay?
Yes.
No, yeah.
I'm trying to dance around
No,
it.
yeah.
I want my mutants mutiny. I want my cannibals eating more people.
Right.
I want,
That was a big disappointment for me.
you know, and it's weird that is a recurring complaint, but I think that if we're doing these things and there are moments that are very rough to watch, and I'm not saying, it needs to be all that all the time, but I'm like, if we're so comfortable going this far with some aspects, why are we like dancing around other aspects?
Yeah, but I think you saying something, it did make me think. I don't care for Devil's Rejects and House of a Thousand. Like those movies too. I don't care for those.
Right.
But you did say something that does lean true. Those characters I will remember.
Yes.
And if you say their names or the family name or whatever, I'm going to be
Of
like,
course.
oh, that's whatever movie. Here, yeah, you can. I don't know who the fuck anybody is. I don't like nobody. Do I remember
Yeah.
the family or mutants, whatever? Like,
I think they do a good job kind of at the beginning of like cultivating this realistic seeming family. Some of them are annoying. Some of them don't get along. Some of them. And then on road trips, you know what I mean? Everybody gets on each other's fucking nerves. Like, I like that aspect. But as we go along, it's like we need to see some of these characters step up more into their own character. And that, for most of them, does not happen.
Yeah.
And the one that it does happen for, like you said, T, I'm already fucking annoyed with him by now. So I don't like, I'm like, this is our guy.
Yeah.
And I too felt like somebody was going to be the one to take it to the end. And it's like dashed in a moment of, I don't know if it's supposed to be, you thought, psych, or if it's just like, no, that this is what happened in the original, so we're doing it again.
Yeah.
I don't know. But I don't hate this. I would even watch it again. There's just something about it that it's like, I feel like there are aspects where you just don't go far enough for a film that is kind of regarded as a film that goes too far. Does that make sense?
yes, yeah.
I don't know. I guess we'll kind of just go through it as we go through the film. But I think just the things that I wanted to see most in this film, there's not a lot of. Like, I want to learn more about these people, not necessarily just how they got this way, but like there seems to be some sort of arrangement with the character that we meet, and we don't learn about really that relationship. I don't know. Well, I don't want to give too much away, so we'll get to it when we get to it. But I just was just left wanting a little bit more. But before we can do any of that, we can kind of go through the production.
Yeah.
I got my information from the making of featurette, Surviving the Hills, the commentary track, and the production notes.
Okay.
So let's go all the way back to 1977 when a young filmmaker named Wes Craven writes and directs the original The Hills Have Eyes, inspired by the Sawney Bean family in Scotland. He has this budget of $325,000, a crew of 15 people that the producer for both the original and this remake, Peter Locke, would drive around in a beat-up Winnebago. They're using props that they borrowed from the production of Texas Chainsaw Massacre. They're down in the trenches, old school, low-budget filmmaking. Cut to the future, the early 2000s, when horror classics like Texas Chainsaw Massacre and the Amityville Horror are being remade to great success. Wes Craven decides that he's open to exploring what a filmmaker could do with his story now in the 2000s with a bigger budget and better resources. Another producer of this film, Mariana Madalena, happens to see High Tension. She is entranced. She thinks it's amazing. She tells Craven and Locke that they need to see it immediately. All three of them love it, but they were also very impressed with what the director, Aja, and the co-writer, Levasseur, were able to do with a modest budget. So now let's talk a little bit about Aja.
Okay.
He grew up traveling with his director father, Alexandre Aja. He met his future collaborator, Levasseur, when they were 10 years old.
Wow.
They bonded over watching films. Ironically, one of the ones that they watched constantly was Wes Craven's The Hills Have Eyes. They end up making a short film together at 18, Over the Rainbow, and it's nominated for Best Short Film at Cannes. And when they premiered High Tension at the Sundance and Toronto Film Festivals, the reception garnered the film a U.S. release.
Okay.
When Craven, Locke, and Madalena approached Aja and Levasseur for the Hills Have Eyes remake, they said that they felt like they were dreaming. Wes Craven was a hero to them. They grew up watching the original film, and Craven's The Last House on the Left was actually a major inspiration for High Tension.
Huh.
Which is like this weird full circle moment because that's the film that got Wes Craven's attention.
Yeah.
But Aja said that Craven told them, I already made my movie. I want you to make your movie. He said that he respected their vision, and this is when Aja and Levasseur felt free to do something a little bit different with the remake. This is when they devised this idea of nuclear testing, which really does, that aspect sets it apart from the original. But using the New Mexico desert as inspiration, the filmmakers found its likeness in Morocco and shot there. It was released into theaters on March 10th, 2006. Despite its mixed reviews, it would earn $70 million at the box office against a budget of $15.5 million.
Okay.
Making it a financial success. There would be an admittedly less successful sequel the following year, but this one is often favored over the original film, and it won Podmortem's November Patreon poll, and there were some really great films on there.
Yeah.
So I guess we just need to see what it's about now.
Yeah.
Let's do it.
Now, before we spy on this film, we would like to issue a warning for spoilers. Podmortem is a very in-depth podcast, and in thoroughly discussing horror films, we have no choice but to spoil a thing or two. If you don't wish to be spoiled, please go watch the film, then come back and enjoy the show. If you've already seen the film or don't care about spoilers, then let's hit the road. After a glare of bright light, the film begins with white text against a black background. Between 1945 and 1962, the United States conducted 331 atmospheric nuclear tests. Today, the government still denies the genetic effects caused by the radioactive fallout. The score throbs like a siren as we're taken to the New Mexico desert. The heat and dust occlude the view of the rocky slopes, but we drop down to a desperate stream. Following along the rocks jutting from the water, a fish swims with the current, only to be caught in a waiting net. The net is held by one of several people completely concealed within hazmat suits.
Did anyone think the fish was going to look like Blinky from
Yes.
the
Yes. Yeah.
That's all I was thinking.
And them being here and this whole little setting, what we're getting right now, I was so fucking pumped.
Yes.
Like seeing that opening, the text, and then we're here. I was like, mutants.
Yeah.
I love mutants.
Yep.
What up, Joe Bob? Like for real. I was so right now. I'm all in.
And I mean, when you think about it, the implications are frightening.
Yes.
That idea and reality is horrible.
Yeah.
And so, yeah, I was in the same boat. One thing I should have said during the production, I really appreciate that Wes Craven was so open to other ideas.
Yeah.
And that it does not feel like this film was made to be like a cash grab like a lot of those remakes were.
True.
That's true.
Yeah.
It's like, I really want to see what they would do with this.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And this is what they did with it.
It is. I will say, too, they pointed out several times that this fish is digital.
What?
Yeah.
No.
How do you train that fish?
Yeah. I was like, that fish is...
It's so real.
Yeah.
It's the realest fish I've ever seen. Another person walks around with a crackling Geiger counter, their breath echoing in their helmeted ears as they scan along the desert ground. The needle jumps on the reader, maxing out again and again. But a man jumps out of nowhere, startling the worker with the accompaniment of a musical sting. The man, played by Maxime Giffard, is bleeding. His clothes are ripped. His open shirt reveals a visible patch of his rib cage. He stares at the suited individual, one of his eyes swollen shut as he begs for help. But before the surveyor can do anything at all, a pickaxe is lodged into their skull from behind, piercing through the front of the helmet, and the worker falls dead. Similarly, the others are taken out one by this hulking assailant wielding the pickaxe. They are stabbed and flung away. One of them drops a bag of liquid that spills and sizzles in the sand. They are impaled and flung against rocks as the fish flops, dying in the dirt. When one of them nearly gets away and starts to scale the adjacent rocky cliff, they are promptly impaled with the pickaxe and pulled back. We cut to a truck driving away, dragging behind it the bodies of the victims, still clad futilely in their protective gear.
So that couldn't have gone worse.
Yeah.
Right.
I think. And I feel bad that the fish also died.
Yeah.
Like, goddamn. I do want to say, just on like a personal note, when it comes to a Geiger counter, there is something, and I know it's a useful tool and it's necessary. Just the sound of it is one of the most unsettling
Yes.
things.
Oh, yeah.
And so again, I feel like everything about this opening really is very successful for me.
Oh, yeah, yeah.
I totally agree. And it goes on further. What we see next, I absolutely loved. But it really does set the tone of where we are and the dangers already present before this giant person jumps up and kills everybody.
Mutant.
Right.
Mutant. Right. So far, right?
Yeah.
They can drive. Yeah.
But next, we are treated to a title sequence. In a clip from Design for Dreaming from 1956, Tad Tadlock twirls in her vintage dress behind a counter, announcing that her cake is ready. She sets it on the counter. The candle's already set and lit as fanfare swells, and she takes a big dramatic breath as she crosses her fingers. She leans forward and blows out the candles, but everything turns a bright white, and as More and More by Webb Pierce begins to play, we match cut to a blooming mushroom cloud, the explosion climbing high into the sky. We get the title in red, The Hills Have Eyes, and we are treated to multiple clips of explosions, bombs being dropped, forests flattened in fiery blazes, houses disintegrating, planes plummeting from the sky. With a staticky screech, we see malformed fetuses confined to jars, appendages clefted with ectrodactyly, more glimpses of genetic defects spliced in with the nuclear explosions that caused them. Mannequin families are loaded into houses, only to be exploded. So this was everything.
Yeah.
I thought this was so fucking good.
The music, the beginning, this, again, the mention of mutants. I love Fallout.
Right.
And
Yes.
this put me in that mindset. So again, I'm fully in. Like, I'm on the edge of my seat. Like, yes, 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 yes. I looked like fucking Jack Nicholson, right? You know, I was like,
Yeah.
nodding all
Yeah.
crazy. I mean, well, we'll see where we're going.
We will.
I really like this kind of juxtaposition of that scene from that film and then all of this.
Yeah.
Because I feel like it is this thing that is so like the 40s and 50s are so romanticized
Yeah.
in hindsight and retrospect, but it's like this is also shit that was going on. It was not a perfect time for
Right.
everyone.
For
Yeah.
yeah.
And so it's this really, really thoughtful presentation.
Yeah, it's like if you peel back this little frilly curtain, like let's not forget what was also going
Right.
on. But Madalena had said on the commentary that they were prepared to hire someone to do this sequence, but Aja and Levester devised it themselves. They
Oh.
collected the photographs. They decided that this is how they wanted to open it.
Okay.
And I think, again, my only, the only drawback to it is this got my mouth ready for some nuclear
Right.
shit.
Oh, yeah.
And I feel like that aspect doesn't fully deliver. It doesn't deliver, and then it delivers a little too heavy-handedly later. But this got me ready for it. Like you said, edge of your seat.
Yeah.
I thought that this opening, I was like, maybe this is a little bit better than I remembered it being. You know, we'll see.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
I love this opening.
And I also feel like, this is what, 2006?
Yeah.
That this is, I feel, before it started getting a little cliche to see horrific images juxtaposed with the pleasant sounding soundtrack.
Right.
And things like that. Because this, to me, I remember being 15 years old and I'm like,
It's like, holy
this is,
shit.
amazing.
With the pretty great title sequence behind us, the music fades away, leaving us on a desert road. A row of mailboxes stands abandoned, their yawning doors rattling in the wind. Broken down cars sit defiant in the swirling dust outside of a gas station, and we linger on its pumps and the cracked outdoor thermometer, its needle inching past 100 degrees. The gas station sign looms tall, glinting in the overbearing sun. Gas Haven, last stop 200 miles, cold beer. We glide back down the telephone poles, anointed with empty bottles, to find a tethered pig squealing and pulling the binding rope to its limit.
Pigs love it. It's like, I love this rope very much. The three of us living in West Texas, 100 degrees isn't that impressive.
Yeah.
It's like, what else you got?
Seriously, next. But I read that the conditions were actually worse for the filming whenever they made it.
Oh, wow.
They had said that it was like 120 degrees on some days. And I'm like, I feel like that's a little more like, why aren't we doing that?
Yeah, that's crazy.
But inside the small, dirty building, the gas station attendant, played by Tom Bauer, wakes in his bed, slick with sweat.
Tom Bauer, he has a credit in Die Hard 2 from 90, High Crimes in 02, and The Killer Inside Me in 2010.
All right.
He looked incredibly familiar.
Yes,
Yeah.
he did. And he is just perfect for this kind of role.
Yeah.
Like, this is
Yeah.
excellent casting. But he pulls on his hat and heads outside of his small living quarters attached to the station with the shotgun in his hand. His dingy t-shirt is pasted to his skin with sweat as he ventures out. His calls for someone named Ruby in competition with the squeaking of the water pump. We watch him in the point of view of someone panting and peering at him before returning to the attendant as he takes a small handful of water leaking from the pump and flings it from his fingers. High above the gas station and its attendant, a scorpion scuttles across a rock. Panning up, there's the twisted remains of a barbed wire fence, the faded sign still posted. No trespassing. United States Government Department of Energy. This scorpion is real.
Oh.
And they had a handler. Aja said that this is one of his favorite shots in the entire film, panning up from this rock to this, sign and everything, that the scorpion's handler had to like try to push him like to do it perfectly because this shot was so important to him. But he said they did it again and again and again and again. But he loved the way that it turned out. And it looks good.
Does.
Yeah. How do you, I mean, what?
It's
I
a
know
scorpion.
it's a scorpion, man. Come on.
Give him a treat. I don't know how it works.
He's like, I don't know what you want from me. The dirt beneath the attendant's feet is scorched black when he approaches a mine shaft. He peers into the darkness inside, his voice echoing when he warns that if it's Jupiter, he's got some buckshots for him.
So there's a history
Yeah.
Uh-huh.
we're being dropped into.
And I hope we get to explore more of it.
Me too.
They said that they found this mine shaft. This is real.
Oh.
That's incredible.
Yeah. But with no response, the attendant returns to the gas station. But when there's a duffel bag waiting at the door for him, he turns, screaming, I told you it's over. He declares that he's out. You're on your own now. His cries cut off into a whimper as he admits quietly in a wavering voice that he's sorry, but he can't do this anymore. He steps over the duffel bag to go inside the station, but in that POV of the panting woman again, we watch the attendant reach out and pull the bag inside. In the station, the attendant grips the stub of a cigar between his teeth as he rummages through the contents of the bag. A silver digital camera, a fistful of gold and pearl jewelry. When a shadow passes over him, he shoots a worried look over his shoulder before returning to the bag. He reaches inside and pulls out a small styrofoam box, and when he opens it up, in a pool of chunky red, he finds teeth and an ear, multiple loops still pierced through its flesh. The attendant's mouth sets in a line as he puts the box to the side and takes out a wallet.
Why would you think I'd want this?
It's a message. You better not
Yeah.
talk and
Yeah.
listen.
Oh,
Just listen to what we're telling
Is
you.
the tooth the
I don't know,
talking?
yeah.
Okay.
And also being in a to-go box.
It's
like,
weird.
Yeah, it's like, come on.
What are we
That's a
doing?
go. Is he eating it later?
Yeah.
But inside the wallet is a photo of a smiling man. A woman presses her lips to his cheek in a loving kiss, but with her head turned, the multiple silver loops are visible in her right ear. The attendant's eyebrows raise, but further inspection of the bag is halted when a horn honks outside.
You know what I was thinking? Maybe because he's being given all the valuables. Maybe that was just about the earrings, and maybe there was a filling in the tooth.
Oh, okay.
Maybe. But it's like, dude, take those out.
Yeah.
And it is kind of funny that they're checking the tooth of it. Like, we have a deal.
Well, if he puts them under his pillow, Tooth Fairy gives him money.
That is
That's
true.
even more.
Yeah.
That's a return on investment. With the decorative American flag fluttering from the side of his blue van, Big Bob, played by Ted Levine, stands with his hand inside the window, honking the horn and calling out impatiently, "Hello?"
Ted Levine.
Yes!
I know. What the fuck?
I was so excited.
Me too.
I was extremely happy. We did talk about him in Shutter Island from 2010 and Silence of the Lambs from 91.
Of course.
He was also in Heat and the Fast and the Furious. I forgot he was in the Fast and the Furious, so it kind of makes me want to go watch it again to see what he was doing.
Yeah,
there.
I don't remember that at all.
It's like, what the hell
Yeah.
are you doing here? They had started the casting with Big Bob Carter. That was the first role that they wanted to fill.
Okay.
They said that they wanted a combination of a man with macho swagger, but also a deeper essence of a family man. And Aja felt that Ted Levine had the vibe of this quintessential American dad. Ted Levine was a big fan of High Tension, and he was interested. He said that it's easy to play evil or play a villain, but it's a real challenge to play a real and normal guy. But once he read the screenplay, he was totally in.
Okay.
And he does just have dad energy.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yes.
he does.
Like, it is very much that quintessential.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Ethel, played by Kathleen Quinlan, hops out from the passenger side, slamming the door behind her and lamenting the heat. Bob advises her to stay in the car out of the wind, but Ethel protests that she has to stretch her legs.
Kathleen Quinlan. She was in Event Horizon in 97.
Yes!
That's what it was.
Also in the Twilight Zone movie in 83.
Wow.
American Graffiti in 73. And Apollo 13 in 95.
Okay, so in the production notes, she said that she was interested in doing this because horror was a genre that she hadn't really done before. And I'm like, whoa, huh? Event Horizon's the scariest shit I've ever
I don't know where she got that. She's very good here.
Yeah.
Yes, she is.
Again, I really do. You talked about it up at the top, but I really like the dynamics for the most part of this family.
Them right now, like I said, this whole beginning, I'm for it.
Yeah.
And it does. They do feel lived in. They
Yeah.
feel realistic. Bob wonders where the hell everybody is and continues to call out for service. While in the back seat, Bobby, played by Dan Bird, pulls his headphones off. He smacks his sleeping sister, Brenda, played by Emily DeRaven, waking her and earning her annoyance.
Bobby, Dan Bird, he was in Easy A in 2010, Lonely Hearts in 06, and he did 102 episodes of Cougar Town.
Really?
That's right, from 09 to 15.
He was in an episode of CSI
I did see that.
and also an episode of Mad Men.
Really?
There
Yes.
you go.
And it's funny because I remember in Mad Men, I'm like, where the fuck do I know you from? And it's this.
Oh, fair enough. He's frustrating.
He
Yes.
is frustrating.
Yes.
But there's a couple characters that I find pretty fucking frustrating. But
That's
we'll
fair.
we'll get
Well,
to it.
Fair.
And Emily DeRaven, she was in Remember Me in 2010, Brick in 05, and she was in 99 episodes of Lost
Oh.
and 117 episodes of Once Upon a Time.
Wow.
Oh.
Yeah.
The gas station attendant finally comes out, smoking his cigar. And when Bob instructs him to fill her up and check the fluids, he responds with a flat, "Right away, sir." He approaches the van with the gas nozzle, but he's startled when two barking dogs jump up and slam against the window of the attached trailer. Inside the trailer, Lynn, played by Vanessa Shaw, snaps at the dogs, Beauty and Beast, to stop it. Her husband, Doug, played by Aaron Stanford, is busy fiddling with the AC in the roof with a screwdriver.
Vanessa Shaw, she was in Eyes Wide Shut in 99,
Mm-hmm.
Hocus Pocus in 93, 40 Days and 40 Nights in 02, and 310 to Yuma in 07.
I had completely forgotten that she was in this.
Yeah.
And we were literally just talking about Eyes Wide Shut the other day.
Yes, we
Yeah.
were.
It was just it was an interesting moment.
Aja and Levasseur had said that they wanted to work with her ever since seeing her in Eyes Wide Shut.
Okay.
But she said that she was afraid of horror, and it wasn't until she watched High Tension after they had approached her for the role that she was able to understand the art behind it.
Okay.
And obviously she ended up saying yes.
Yeah. And Aaron Stanford, he looked like somebody else to me for a while in a couple of shots, and I think you agreed with me.
Yeah.
He looked like Michael Bolton from Office Space every now and then.
Is that David Herman?
Yes.
Yes.
But looking him up and seeing, who he really was, he's fucking Pyro from X-Men Last Stand and X-Men United. I was like, oh shit. I was like, dude, he is a little older. You know what I mean? But he was also in 73 episodes of Nikita. That was from 2010 to 2013. And 47 episodes of 12 Monkeys. That was 15 to 18.
Wow.
Yeah.
But when the grate covering the broken AC loosens and falls, smacking Doug in the face, he asks Lynn to remind him why they couldn't just fly like normal people. And we spend a lot of time in this trailer, and they were talking about on the commentary how the AC was actually broken for real in this trailer.
That is fucked up.
So that would really suck. But before she can answer, he feigns remembrance. Oh, that's right. They wouldn't let her dad fly the plane. It's like, oh, I see some tension already.
Again, we're being dropped into.
Yes, yeah.
I see it. Lynn picks up baby Catherine, played by Maisie Camilleri Preciosi, and settles her onto her hip. So this baby, they were having a lot of trouble casting this baby. And it turns out that a crew member's best friend was coming to vacation in Morocco with her 6-month-old baby. So, obviously, this is the baby that we see in the film.
Yeah.
They said that the parents were on set constantly. And Aja said that filmmakers always say children and animals are nightmares to work with. He said that absolutely the animals were, but that the baby was a dream come true. Said she was always happy, gave them everything that they needed from her, that she was easy, like chill the whole time.
I guess she liked antique automotives or something.
Loves it. Didn't we just say that?
Yeah, we did.
It's true. It is very funny to me just to consider when he's like, she gave us everything she wanted. She's like, I can give you another take. We need one more take? Work? Yeah, okay. Cry harder, you've said? Okay.
Got it.
Yes, I can do it. Let me get into character.
But she's literally 6 months old.
That's
it's like,
wild.
I feel like that would be a nightmare. But he was like, no, she was so easy. That the dogs were a nightmare. That other animals that we see throughout the film, it was a nightmare to get them to do what they needed. But that the baby, they never even had to worry about.
Okay.
And they were like, you usually in this case would use twins.
Right.
And they didn't. They didn't have twins. And that she was just chill.
Okay.
Lynn just tells Doug to relax. She reminds him that it's her parents' silver anniversary and they're so happy that he came. Doug counters that her parents can't stand him, but Lynn insists that he's wrong. They love him. Returning to the ceiling with the screwdriver, Doug sighs that they could have taken them on a cruise, but Lynn tells him to stop. She never asks him for anything. She implores him to just think about how happy he'll be when Catherine comes along on their 25th anniversary. The thought of this and the sight of his cooing daughter slightly softens Doug. He rubs Catherine's head lovingly and gives Lynn a kiss. But when he returns to his work, he asserts that it's not going to be in a fucking trailer home.
I do want to talk about this fucking trailer home really quickly. I read in the production notes. Firstly, the production designer is a guy called Joseph C. Nimick III. He worked on Twister, Terminator 2, and The Abyss.
Okay.
Damn.
But he's also the father of Corin Nimick.
What?
Yeah. Who we talked about on The Stand.
The Stand.
Yeah.
PMTV. Yeah.
Get into it. Patreon.
It's so
It's
funny.
there?
Yep.
Because, and it's all there. You can listen to all
Yes.
things.
Every single episode.
It's so funny when you said that. I was like, Nimick. Like, you don't hear that name.
No.
That's really funny.
But these trailers, firstly, let me talk about where this film was made.
Okay.
Because they had a pretty difficult time trying to find the proper location to mimic that New Mexico desert. So from jump, Aja and his co-writer were saying, let's do Morocco. Because apparently, I guess they had made their previous film, it must have been High Tension. They said that their previous film was shot in Morocco.
Okay.
And so, like, we already know all the facilities they have there, everything that we could need, what it looks like, and how to shoot it.
Right.
Production did not want to. And so they went through Namibia, South Africa, New Mexico, Mexico, California. They even thought about filming it where they filmed the original film in Victorville, which did not look the same as it did in 1977, so they couldn't. And then they're like, actually Morocco does sound pretty good. So they did. And they settled on Morocco, and the place that they filmed is actually referred to and commonly known as the gateway to the Sahara Desert.
No.
So as I said previously, 120 degrees Fahrenheit, 45 days on set. They said it was enough to melt latex,
Oof.
Jesus.
which is difficult.
Yeah.
Sandstorms, like it was a pain in the ass to film there, but worth it for what it looks like.
Right.
They had said, though, and this was very interesting to me, they had 3 of these trailers for all the different things that they needed it to do. But they didn't go into detail, and I really want to know more. They acquired all 3 of those trailers from the King of Morocco.
Okay. How do you not go into
Exactly.
detail?
Yeah.
I think we just got it from the King. Anyway. I wanted to know a lot more.
Yeah.
But there was also a 4th trailer that was just a set. And what they did is they took the interior and they built it out to where it was 33% larger than the actual trailer.
Okay.
So for the scenes that we have where there is more involved, more going on, and more need for crew and camera movement, that's probably the larger version.
Okay.
But they had mentioned wanting to decorate this trailer in very modern sensibilities and things that Big Bob would like, basically. Things that make it look like it's lived in, that they have renovated it for this trip. Part of it was obviously for that purpose of character, to give the environment character, but also to reflect the character of the family.
Right.
But it was also to do it on purpose in stark contrast with some of the places that we'll see later that are more stuck in time.
Okay.
And so you have this vast
Yeah.
kind of chasm between these two families that we'll meet, which I thought was pretty interesting.
I like that. Yeah. It makes sense if production wasn't immediately on board for Morocco, because I think on the commentary, Aja was talking about, because the film takes place in New Mexico, having pictures of the desert in New Mexico and pictures of the desert in Morocco, and being like, tell me which one is which.
Right.
And nobody could. So it makes sense that if he had to convince them,
Yeah.
when he's like, I've been there.
Yeah.
That's crazy. But it's a good thing that Nimic was able to mimic
Yeah.
the
all
New
right.
Mexican desert. All right.
No, that's great work.
But as the van fills up with gas, the attendant comments that they don't see too many travelers around here. He asks Ethel where they're headed. Plucking her purse through the window, Ethel responds happily, San Diego. The attendant is taken aback. California? He reasons that they shouldn't take the fastest road. Using the side mirror to apply her lipstick, Ethel refutes this. They absolutely had to see the desert, didn't they, Bob? Bob agrees. Absolutely. The cigar clamped between his teeth, the attendant declares that there's absolutely nothing to see in the desert. Snapping her purse shut and walking away, Ethel replies facetiously, Really? You hear that, honey? Big Bob sighs before turning his attention to the attendant, wondering if he knows that it's illegal to smoke next to a gas pump. The attendant chuckles and grins, the remaining teeth in his mouth stained a deep yellow. But Brenda has found the little pig, still bound with the rope around its collar. She plays with it gently and calls her brother over to come see it. Bobby strides over, commenting that that's so random, but deciding that his sister and the pig make the perfect pair. He walks past her, and when he starts to unbuckle his pants with his back to her, Brenda catches sight of him and snaps at him not to pee there. But Bobby tells her to just turn her back for a second. Instead, Brenda points him in the direction of a nearby outhouse. And I'm sorry, dude, I'm not fucking going in there.
No, dude.
I'm not going in there.
I will pee behind the outhouse.
Yeah, I was gonna say maybe on the
You
side
still-
or behind.
Yeah,
There's-
he's still in the open. Like, you don't need to be doing it there, but I'm not going in that box.
No.
That's terrifying. Unbeknownst to everyone, we see the socked feet of a woman in a frayed skirt reaching inside the window of the van. Amid the chip crumbs in the seat, bracelets rattle on her wrist as she tosses a baby toy aside in favor of a red hoodie. And I will say, we're talking about realism and families. I appreciated the chip crumbs on the seat.
Yeah.
Because it doesn't get more real than that. Lynn and baby Catherine stand with Ethel next to the attendant, who is still filling up the tank while Bob lingers by the open hood. As the mysterious woman runs off, Doug hops out of the trailer, trying desperately to find signal for either of his phones. He asks the attendant if he has a phone he can use, but the attendant responds dryly that he doesn't. But Bob speaks up, calling Doug by his last name, Bukowski, when he advises him to give the cell phone a rest. But Doug offers an apology. Duty calls. Lynn agrees that he's been on his phone since they left, and Bobby can hear Doug from the inside of the outhouse when he explains that he's been gone for 2 days. He has to make sure the store isn't burning to the ground. As Bobby pees, he looks around at the hanging fly strips, completely congested with dead bugs. A leaf-shaped air freshener does its best in the corner, but still, Bobby grimaces. At the sound of buzzing, he looks over and spots what appears to be rotting carcasses, and he mutters, "Thanks, Brenda." I'd be more concerned with what the hell is on the other side.
And I'm sorry, your sister's not in control of
Yeah, she didn't know.
No, and
She's
also,
like, "Get the fuck out."
like, yes, ma'am. You can pee wherever you want.
Yeah, no kidding.
But when he turns back forward, there's an eye peering at him through a crack in the outhouse. Bobby cries out and jumps back, calling out, "What the hell?" When he assumes that it was his sister, he puts his pants back on and cinches his belt, lamenting as he steps out that he got it on his hand. When he passes Brenda, who's obliviously pulling her blonde hair into a ponytail, he calls her a freaking perv, and Brenda is confused. Why would she be doing that?
Yeah, I didn't understand that.
There's a lot. She's about 35 feet away as well.
Yeah.
Yeah.
She teleported.
Yeah. Remember on The Simpsons when they had that flashback and Homer was trying to talk to those guys in the van and then he, in a flash of light, he's like fucking way back there again. That's how it felt. I was like, why is this family? I know they have to be unobservant.
Right.
Because that mysterious figure stealing the hoodie as well.
Yeah,
like,
and it's
this
broad
is
daylight.
risky.
Yeah.
There's like 8 people out here. But she got away with it. She knows what she's doing.
It's in her first rodeo.
And then she's like, what's going on this side? It's like, hey, dude.
She's trying to find the owner, I guess, of the sweater. I don't
Maybe.
know.
Thanks
Like,
for
can I
that.
borrow this?
Yeah. Knock on the door, dude.
Yes. Or wait.
Yeah.
Back by the cars, Lynn watches with a smile as Doug carries the baby away with a bottle. The attendant is looking under the hood now, and when Bob tells his wife to put a cork in it for a minute, he comments that Bob is right. This is the only southbound road going to I-88. From there, they can take the 40 to California, but it's a long drive. Bob asserts that doesn't bother him. He likes to drive at night. In fact, he used to work night patrol for 15 years. As Bobby and Brenda drink handfuls of water from the pump, the attendant's expression sours. He points out, "You're a cop?" Big Bob affirms this. He was a detective, and Ethel adds with her back turned, "Not anymore, thank God." Bob shares with the attendant that he's starting his own security firm. The attendant calls over to Doug, who sits with his baby in a chair in front of the store. When asked if he's a cop too, Doug corrects him. He's in telecommunications. He sells cell phones. The attendant breaks the news that he's not going to find any customers out here, but Doug can see that for himself. Beauty the dog bursts from the trailer and runs off, ignoring Lynn when she calls out to her. When Bob asks what he owes the attendant, he's told 46 even. As the dog peels open the door to the station.
I gotta say, dude, these dogs are pretty wild throughout.
They're out of control.
They are really pretty dogs.
True.
German Shepherds,
Yes.
right?
Oh, yeah.
Doug reaches into his pocket, insisting that Bob let him pay. But Bob replies, "I can still afford the gas, Bukowski." He hands a bill over to the attendant and tells him to keep the change. But Doug says quietly that that's not what he meant.
Yeah, so he doesn't like you, it seems.
No,
Yeah.
he doesn't. Lynn follows Beauty inside the store and walks between the shelves stocked sparsely with cans, jars, and bags of chips. When she hears something clatter, she asks if anyone is there, but receives no answer. She follows Beauty past the front counter and through the beads dividing the attendant's living area from the rest of the store. She takes a disapproving look around, but lingers on the duffel bag set on the table. Pulling it open a little with her finger, Lynn takes a quick look inside before moving on. She finds Beauty staring at the window and barking, shoving her snout between the old bent blinds. Lynn grabs her dog by the collar and turns, only to find herself face to face with the attendant, who asks, "Can I help you, miss?" Lynn immediately apologizes and explains that their dog just won't stay put. From outside, Doug calls to her that they're leaving, and the beads clatter as Lynn quickly pushes through them to exit. But the attendant looks down at the bag. It's opening just wide enough to see the cell phone and jewelry inside. But the attendant looks down at the bag. It's opening just wide enough to see the camera and the jewelry inside. He takes all this in before following Lynn through the beads.
He really has no right to be offended or anything if beads are your only divider.
When you got shit like this.
Yeah, dude. At least hide it better.
Yeah. Plus, again, I like the feeling of the store.
Yes.
The music, the old-timey music, barely anything on the shelves. It is that. There's nobody else here. I've got to look for help if I am buying something. And my dog's in your room. I'm trying to get him out.
Plus these dogs, dude.
It's like, why didn't you have somebody watch them at home?
A huge plot point is how misbehaved these dogs are. Outside, Bob is honking the horn impatiently. Ethel watches through the side mirror as Bobby brings Beauty back into the trailer, and Lynn complains that she keeps getting out. She starts to close the door, but Doug stops her. He asks her gently if she thinks she could tell him to take it a little easy. The heat's making him nauseous. Bob glances back toward them and calls out, "Let's go!" Lynn kisses Doug before he retreats back into the trailer, and Lynn takes her brother's spot in the back of the van. Bob complains that it's time to go, but Ethel reminds him that they're on vacation. Suddenly, though, the attendant appears at Bob's window with a brisk knock. When Bob rolls the window down, the attendant imparts a little local wisdom. If he were to take a left at the dirt road a couple miles from here, that'll lead him through the hills and save him a couple of hours. Why didn't you tell me this before?
Yeah.
But Brenda eyes this suspiciously from the back seat, and the attendant assures Bob that he can't miss it. There's an old fence right in the front. Ethel thanks him kindly, and Bob sums it up. Old fence, dirt road, 2 miles. The attendant nods and wishes them a safe trip. Big Bob rolls up the window, and the attendant grins good-naturedly around his cigar. The van departs, dragging the trailer behind it and leaving the attendant alone once again to take a long look after them.
Am I wrong in my understanding of the conversation that Big Bob had with the attendant over that very cool old-fashioned gas pump?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
It seemed that he didn't mind it taking longer.
He likes driving at night, is what he said.
So it really surprised me that he's like willing to even take the shortcut.
Yeah, that's true.
That is true. But maybe he's like, let's go. Maybe he's like, God, I'm fucking sick of being in here. I don't know. That's true, though, because that was the last thing we heard was that I like driving at night. I don't mind.
So I thought that maybe don't establish that.
Yeah. And he's the one that wanted to see the desert.
Exactly.
Beneath the jagged cliffs above and between the plains of flat, dry desert, the van makes its way down the road. The tense rising score is interrupted by Big Bob singing My Bonnie behind the wheel. Much to Brenda and Lynn's chagrin, Ethel joins in, but Bob starts singing and invites them to imagine the first people that crossed this desert. They didn't know where they were. But Brenda can imagine it easily because they don't know where they are either. Bob points out that there's a road here, which means it has to go somewhere. He tells her to look at how the light hits the rocks. It's gorgeous. But Brenda just shakes her head quietly in the back seat. She sighs that this is so fucked. And when Ethel snaps at her to watch her language, Bob laughs. Ethel's offended. She'd like a little backup. Brenda adds that this is such bullshit. And Bob's laughter stops immediately and he warns her, hey, watch your fucking mouth. Lynn implores everyone to calm down because they're all just tired. Brenda asks her mother why she's so uptight, having grown up in the 60s. And Bob smirks that she didn't used to be uptight. She was a little hippie chick. Ethel smiles and Bob continues that Brenda should have seen her mother when she was her age. She was a little haughty. This finally coaxes a smile from Brenda, but Ethel tells her husband to stop. When she smacks his arm, Bob takes her hand and plants a kiss on it. This is cute. Like it feels real. And they had said that they spent all their time together. This group of actors talking, rehearsing, going to dinner together every night. And they really did end up feeling like a family. And their dynamic, it does feel very lived in. It feels realistic. Again, like you were saying, John Paul, the beginning of this film, I think is really like, I don't really have anything to complain about.
I'm still here.
Absolutely.
But in the trailer, Doug laments driving through the New Mexico desert in the middle of summer with a broken air conditioner. Great vacation. We glide over him and Bobby past a collage on the wall of pictures of Doug, Lynn, and Catherine. Bobby says that he's glad that Doug came, though. Without him, it would have been so fucking boring. Doug cleans his glasses with the hem of his shirt before sliding them back on his face.
Don't do that. It's very bad for your lenses.
You just started shaking your head.
It's especially the kind of shirt that he's wearing. It's like, are you fucking kidding me?
He looks up at Bobby, who's busy trying to fix the AC that he couldn't fix earlier. He advises him to give it a rest. He tried for an hour and a half to fix it. It's just ancient and the medieval wiring needs to be replaced. But Bobby puts something into place and closes the grate, announcing, "There!" The air conditioner hums as it returns to life, and Bobby hops down from the chair, diagnosing that the thermostat was the problem. It's disconnected. Doug just slides a cigarette between his lips and shrugs that at least they can breathe now. He settles onto the couch and lights it, prompting confusion from Bobby. He thought Doug quit smoking. He asks if his sister knows about this, and Doug replies, "Hey man, fuck your sister." Bobby chuckles at this, but warns that Big Bob would be pretty pissed off if he knew Doug was smoking in his newly renovated 88 Airstream. So Doug replies, "Fuck Big Bob too."
Please don't tell your sister or Big Bob.
I was going to say,
that I've
This
said.
conversation was just about.
Yes.
let's calm down.
It's like you're talking a big game now. But he asks if Bobby wants a cigarette too. He presents him with the pack, and when Bobby reaches for one, Doug snatches it away, asserting that Lynn would cut his nuts off if Bobby started smoking. But Bobby counters that he thinks she already did that a long time ago. And as they chuckle, Doug agrees.
I understand his pride is wounded or whatever.
Yeah.
But he never thanked him for fixing the AC.
Yeah, no.
And that really stuck out to me.
But in the van, Ethel is consulting a map, deducing that she thinks they're somewhere on this blue road. Isn't a blue road water?
That's really funny.
Maps were different back then.
Mhm. It's like, somebody else take the map.
Yeah.
That's me trying to navigate.
I think we're in Rand McNally.
We're here, guys. It's fine. From the back seat, Brenda corrects that they're not on that blue road or any road at all. The guy told them that it wasn't on the map. In front of the approaching van, a lizard sits obliviously in the dirt road. It is ripped to shreds when a spike strip suddenly comes jutting into view.
Why? I felt so bad for this lizard.
Yeah.
It's just so needlessly cruel.
It's showing you that it's sharp.
Yeah, we're about to see.
Yeah.
And you guys aren't going to believe this, but that lizard was CG.
No
Get outta here.
way. Thought that lizard was like, he did everything
He
that
gave
we
us
Yeah.
that we
Gave us
needed.
life for the film. When Bob drives over it, the tires are punctured. He immediately loses control of the van, and as he tries to steer them back on course, the trailer is flailing wildly in the back, sending Bobby and Doug off the couch and the contents in the kitchen off the counters. When Bob realizes that he's swerving uncontrollably toward a cluster of rocks on the side of the road, he yells for his daughters to watch the baby. The van crashes into the rock, sending up a cloud of dirt and dust as the front end crunches and the chaos finally comes to a stop. But someone unseen growls as the spike strip is pulled from the road.
I know they don't see it yet, but we do.
Mm-hmm.
A tire or two, okay. You know what I mean? Every single tire was shredded.
Yeah.
What did we run over? What? That's not like a weird warning. Like every tire is shredded.
And the excuse that they give, it does not hold any water.
No.
Especially in the desert.
Yeah.
Well, there is none.
Yes, precisely. I don't, and especially, I'm sorry, but him being this detective and everything, it's like, you can't deduce.
Oh, damn
Yeah.
it, dude. That's
Yeah.
true. And it's like that dude came back and was like, actually, why don't you take this road? And then this happens. That's immediately where my
Yeah.
mind would
Right.
go.
This absolute stranger
Yes.
Yeah.
who seemed shifty from jump.
Yes. But firstly, I thought it was cool. This rock was like constructed out of concrete because this crash was real.
Oh.
They said that it took 3 days to shoot. They were only able to do the actual crash one time. So they had to perfect the technique in every moment leading up to it. The stunt driver was named Cedric Proust, and he not only needed to crash into this rock going 50 miles per hour, but he had to be mindful of the way that everything came to a stop because this is where a lot of the film is going to be taking place.
Okay.
But I mean, it looks great.
Yeah. Was it a van or a Suburban?
Is there a difference?
I mean, yeah, a little. They're both large vehicles.
John Paul, it's
but-
whatever you say it is. Is it a Suburban?
It's a Suburban.
Okay.
Oh,
It's from henceforth. Doug rushes out of the trailer and runs to Lynn, asking if the baby's okay. What the hell happened? Beauty and Beast take off running down the dirt road.
Swear to God.
And Bobby gets out with the grimace to find his father angrily slapping his hat against the mangled hood of his Suburban.
Yes.
Ethel pulls a crying Catherine out of the Suburban.
Do you want to rewrite your script?
Can we just take 5 real quick? It's weird because I'm an expert on cars. I think I was just trying to test you guys, and you passed.
Oh,
T, you
okay.
failed.
Oh, no.
But Brenda gets out the other side, waving the smoke away with her hand. Ethel goes to her son, but Bob places his hand on Bobby's head, assuring his wife that he's all right. Doug stands with his arm around Lynn, asserting that he knew this wasn't going to be safe for the baby. But when Big Bob calls out to ask if they're all right, he's like, we're fine. But Bob brings his fist angrily down on the front of the vehicle, cursing. Brenda watches as her brother chases after the departing dogs, quickly mounting a steep hill. And after a view of just how alone and isolated they are in this desert, she realizes with the shake of her head, we are so fucked. Doug tries desperately to get a signal, raising his phone up high, but he only gets a defiant beep in return. Lynn comes over, and when she asks, he reports that he didn't find any signal. He laments that it's 97% nationwide coverage, and they find themselves in that 3%. He sighs. Well, your dad wanted to see the desert. I hope he's enjoying himself.
Yeah, because this was all Big Bob's fault.
Yeah.
I understand we're all frustrated, but if we're turning on each other already.
Immediately.
Right away.
Lynn is hugging him from behind, and with her chin resting on his shoulder, she asks him not to start. But Doug isn't done taking shots at her father. He proposes that maybe someone will need a rent-a-cop around here. Lynn finally lets go and shoves him gently, but Doug reminds her that Bob takes every opportunity to take him down a peg. He's not allowed to snap back at him. He starts to walk away, but Lynn amends this. She just doesn't want him to stoop to Bob's level. Ethel is standing by with the baby while Bob crouches in front of the smoking Suburban. He's ranting that it's 200 degrees out here and this is everybody's fault. When Ethel quietly tells Catherine not to listen to him, he snaps at her to get off his back.
Wow.
I know. And how is this everybody's fault?
I don't know.
Fuck.
He's like, we were all.
We were all driving. But he turns when Doug approaches, asking what the damage is. Bob shares that the axle is broken and the vehicle is totaled. Still, Doug asks, can we fix it?
See, this is why he is always on your ass.
Yeah.
Yes. Yeah.
Bob is like, what? He laughs at his son-in-law. No, they can't fix it. The frame is twisted to hell. And with what? He stands and tells Doug to just give him his cell phone so he can call a tow truck. But Doug's like, I already tried. There's no signal. But like, he's been on his phone. Y'all were just talking shit about him being on his phone. Don't you think he tried his phone already?
Yeah, that's true.
He's like, I got an idea. Give me your phone. Ethel proposes that they use the CB, and Bob allows that they can try it, but he doubts they'll get anyone. He points out that the freeway is way on the other side of the hills that are encasing the road. She's not going to get a signal. Doug asks what they're going to do then. Bob just takes off his hat and excuses himself as he walks past Doug to get a bottle of water from the Suburban. He takes a drink and then sighs with satisfaction as he dumps some of the water over his head. But Doug asks him again, Bob, what are we doing? And after a pause, Bob answers, we walk. He slides on his sunglasses and puts his hat back on. Doug is taken aback by this answer, but Bob just doubles down. They're walking, him and Doug. Doug reminds Bob that they're in the middle of the desert, miles from anywhere. But Bob reasons that it's either that or sit and wait for someone to drive by. And has Doug seen anyone drive by since they left the freeway? Lynn approaches with their baby and places a hand on Doug's back as he agrees that he sure hasn't seen anybody drive by since Bob decided to take that shortcut. Lynn diffuses the situation by pulling her husband away with an invitation to come take a walk.
He should be giving it back to him a little bit. Because that is exactly, we can pinpoint the exact point that everything went wrong.
Yeah.
It's true, but it's not like everybody was like, Dad, no, we should stay on the road. And he's like, shut the fuck up.
That's true.
Like everybody
fair.
wanted to get out of there faster. So it's like, I understand that tensions are high, but we don't need to jump to, well, if you didn't fuck, it's like, okay, do you think he meant to drive into the spikes?
Yeah.
Do you think that was his plan to drive into the spikes?
If it was,
we can chill. Like it was a fucking accident. That's why it's called a car accident.
yes.
I understand. I think it is just kind of, for me, it's starting a little here because again, like you said a minute ago, T, we did want to stay on the highway, but all of a sudden we want to take this shortcut now that it's presented to us.
Mm-hmm.
So when it's that and he's like, well, it's Bob's fault. It kind of feels like, well, why did we go down here? It was an accident. It's nobody's fault. But why did we take this? What the fuck? Why?
We were doing just fine.
Yeah.
Yeah, it just sucks. Bobby is finally coming down the hill, gripping each of the dog's collars, but someone is watching him from a ridge above, growling lowly before scrambling out of sight. Back on the road, the family is listening to California Dreaming by the Mamas and the Papas. Brenda has taken this opportunity to lie out on a lawn chair and spread tanning lotion over her exposed skin. Ethel is bringing more lawn chairs out of the trailer, complaining that she's sure this desert is full of rattlesnakes. Bobby is helping his mom, but when Bob calls him from the Suburban, he goes to his father.
Top tier track.
Yes.
Yeah.
But it is also sarcastic that she's playing that.
It is. Big Bob hands his son a gun, alerting him that the safety's on. Bobby just replies, yes, sir, and he takes it as he casually tells Ethel about a snake documentary that he saw on the Discovery Channel. As Big Bob takes a big gun for himself, Bobby informs his mother of some species. If they bite you, you're dead within like 25 minutes. Ethel turns, not looking very happy to hear this, but Bob is up for the challenge. Indicating his gun, he reasons that he'd like to see how one of those snakes stacks up against one of these.
All right.
I know. Big ass
feel like-
dirty hairy gun.
Yeah.
I don't feel like that's a fair fight. But when Ethel catches sight of the gun, she stomps over, reminding her husband that those were supposed to stay locked up. He returns fire that he thought she wasn't talking to him. He reiterates that he's a licensed professional and that he'll take bullets over her prayers any day. But Bobby is playing with the gun, aiming it into the distance and mimicking firing noises. He questions, what about scorpions or coyotes? Big Bob chuckles, praise the Lord, and pass the ammunition.
Bobby is not ready for this.
No.
And the fact that his father he's literally aiming out in the fucking desert and pretending to fire it and everything.
Yeah.
And he's like, great job. Great work. Great work, Bobby Jr.
I'm so proud of you.
Tussles his hair. It's like, what the hell?
It is very odd. It's not a toy, man.
No.
Whether the safety's on or not.
Yeah, no.
Bobby fixes Doug in his sights and asks if he wants to try it. But Doug flinches at this. He tells Bobby not to point that thing at him. But Bobby assures him that it's okay. The safety's on. So I'm like, okay, we've talked about safety twice.
Yes.
Somebody's going to get shot with this gun because we think the safety's on.
That's right.
No.
Yeah,
That's
no, it
true.
doesn't.
Bob warns his son to leave Doug alone. He's a Democrat. He doesn't believe in guns.
That's not the problem with what just happened.
No, it's not.
The problem is pointing a firearm
Yeah.
at your family.
I don't
Yes,
think anybody likes
No.
having a gun
Both
pointed at
sides
them.
of the aisle, I think we can get some bipartisan
Yeah,
agreement.
no shit.
Fucking crazy.
Teasing, Bobby's like, oh, come on, Dougie, just one shot. It'll make him feel kind of powerful. He might even like it. But Doug takes this good-naturedly. He politely declines. He'd probably just shoot his foot off. I also thought that was foreshadowing. It's not. Bob agrees that Doug is right. He probably would just shoot his foot off. Doug sips from a bottle of water and casts a long glance over at Brenda, lounging on the chair and sunning herself. Lynn sees this and goes over to her sister. So I didn't like this.
No.
Yeah, I don't understand what was going on here.
They said on the commentary, it was Aja, Levasseur, and Madalena. They said that there was a scene that they ended up removing where Lynn is asking Doug if he still finds her attractive after having the baby. They had said that they had that scene and they have this. I don't know if it's like insinuating some kind of rift or some kind of physical gap between the two of them, but they got rid of that and they kept the scene of Doug looking at Brenda and Lynn seeing Doug looking at Brenda.
Uh-huh.
This is what they wanted to keep and not the conversation that they had. They cut that. On the commentary, they said that they decided to keep this in instead because it is relatable and it insinuates to the audience, not a postpartum mother struggling with body image. That's not relatable. This dude checking out his young sister-in-law is relatable.
I was going to ask relatable to who?
Yeah.
Right. And it insinuates basically that if somehow something were to happen to Lynn, this is Madalena saying this, there's a possibility that we could move something forward with Doug and Brenda.
What?
And Madalena's like, and she's 18, so it's fine. It's relatable.
No to both.
Uh-huh.
It's not fine. It's not relatable. I don't.
Yeah, I was going to
This
say.
is a very specific situation, I
Uh-huh.
would say. And also, it doesn't endear me to fucking
No.
Doug at all.
That was kind of my thing. I seen this and I'm like, what is this? Because look, again, I owned guns a long time ago. You know, I don't need to say which way I lean, but I am a little leaning to the left. But again, you buy guns, that's your business, whatever. This is not relatable. I don't like him doing that. If this is who I'm supposed to follow, or I'm supposed to whatever. Yeah. No, dude, what are you doing?
And the fact that it never comes up again, like Lynn sees it happen and then she just goes and talks to Brenda, like, hey, what? Not that it would be Brenda's fault, but I'm like, maybe I'm tripping and maybe I'm like seeing something that's not there.
Yeah.
And then John Paul watched it and was like, why the fuck is he checking out his young sister-in-law? And I was like, okay, I thought I might be tripping. And then seeing that on the commentary, they're like, no, he's checking her out and it's relatable. We all check out our teenage sister-in-laws. What? It's like, what?
It is kind of wild that they're like, no, we made sure to put that in there.
Yeah. They cut what could have been a scene that adds a little more, like another layer of depth to these characters in this relationship. Because I don't see, even though Doug is like talking shit about her dad and like there's a rift and things are tense, he and Lynn seem fine.
Well, they seem fine aside from the fuck your sister. What was that?
Yeah, but I took that as him like showing out for Bobby or like just acting dumb.
That's kind of what
like
I
trying
thought.
to joke around.
Trying to be cool for the little brother or what.
But
Like,
that's
a really dumb way to
Of course it is.
It is.
But when they interact with each other, they seem fine. They seem loving. They're kissing. They have their arms
Hugging
around
each
each other.
other.
Yeah. So I was like, what the hell is this?
I would have much preferred the scene of them talking and us getting to feel a little more intimate, a little more personal with them.
Right.
So that later I can be like, okay, whatever. But I
just wanted to share that because I was a little astounded. But when Lynn asks how she's holding up, Brenda reports sarcastically that she's thrilled. Lynn agrees with a chuckle that it's a total drag, but Brenda shares that she doesn't care what they say. Next year, she's going to Cancun with her friends. No more of these family trips. But rubbing lotion on her legs, Lynn points out that they're not going to have many more of them. And if Brenda wants to go to Cancun, she's going to have to get a job. Peering up at her sister from behind her sunglasses, Brenda questions, "You mean like your job?" Lynn reminds her sister that she helps Doug out at the store, and Brenda's like, oh, yeah. Doug calls over to Lynn, asking if she can bring his jacket, and before Lynn can reply, Brenda calls out, "I'll be right there, honey." Lynn smiles and gives her sister the finger before walking away, leaving Brenda alone to laugh.
And this too, if we're doing this dynamic of like the sisters like mean nice or petty nice or whatever. I don't get that other than this scene.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Other than that, they're fine. Everybody's still cool.
Yeah, I feel like what we had said earlier about the dynamics working, this is where things start to slip a little bit.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, and that was mean. Like, that was mean.
Well, no,
Oh, yeah.
it is.
I mean, yeah.
Oh, you mean like your job?
Yeah.
It's like, bitch, I'm not going to fucking Cancun.
Yeah.
But Lynn enters the trailer to get Doug's jacket, and something outside the window catches her eye. With the thud and the score, she spots light glinting off of something shiny in the hills. She leans in close to the window, trying to get a better look, but she gets the shit scared out of her when Bobby throws himself against the window with a scream. Lynn jumps back and yells at her brother, but he brings his face up to the glass, asking if she can get him a Twinkie. Lynn refuses and Bobby slinks off with a groan, but with him gone, Lynn takes one last look out the window.
The jump scare got me,
It did.
I will say. So great work.
Yeah.
But I also think that there are moments like this. Firstly, this is The Hills Have Eyes.
Yeah.
That's that moment that we're experiencing. I just feel like there should be more communication.
Yeah.
Do you see that, Bobby?
Yeah.
It's just
Straight
that
up.
simple.
Yeah.
Lynn passes her brother when she walks out to the road to give Doug his coat and tells him to stay away from her, so Bobby backs off. Doug is crouched in the dirt with Bob, figuring out the game plan. When Lynn approaches, she asks if Doug is taking a gun too, but he stands and tells her that he's not. He doesn't need a gun to find help. Brenda watches with a smirk as Lynn pulls a blue hat onto her husband's head, insisting when he refuses it because he doesn't want hat hair. I'm like, Doug, get the fuck out of my face, dude.
We have that photo shoot later.
But with the hat securely on his head, Doug and Lynn share a kiss. Bob interrupts, instructing Doug that if he doesn't find any help in 5 or 6 miles, he's to turn around and come back. Him interrupting this dude and his daughter kissing was funny to me. He's like, all right, it's time to go.
Well, they were starting to make out. I was like, hey.
As for Bob, he's going back to the gas station. Ethel is worried that he's not going to make it back before it gets dark, but Bob reasons that it's only about 8 miles. He can borrow the old man's car and use his phone if he has one. He did tell Doug he does not have a phone, but he grins that he'll be back with the tow truck before nightfall. When Bobby asks if he can go with Doug, Ethel and Big Bob reply in unison, no. Bob tells him to stay here with his mother and his sisters. He calls out to Brenda and informs her that Bobby is in charge, so she is not to tease him. Brenda takes this without a word, but she groans when Ethel decides that she thinks they should all pray.
I understand we got to figure things out and maybe cover more ground. No fucking way are we separating and
Absolutely
going
not.
2 different directions. That's number one. And also, again, I got to go back to fucking Big Bob being a detective. I'm going to go right back to the guy that sent us here.
Yeah.
And see if he can help us out.
Yeah.
I understand your options are limited, but there's no fucking way.
Yeah, and plus he's on 8 Mile. Here it's dangerous over there.
Over those
Don't,
tracks?
Bob!
Yeah.
But I was surprised the same thing, them going opposite directions. I was like, what? I was
And
like,
each of them
why?
alone?
Yeah.
Yeah.
When Ethel senses the disappointment, she snaps at her family, wondering if praying is really too much to ask. Someone off screen goes, yes, and I laughed out loud. But Bob smiles and tells Brenda to come on. She gets up and pulls on her t-shirt, thanking God that no one is watching them. Well, you know.
There's your foreshadowing.
Yeah. Brenda, Big Bob, Ethel, Doug, Lynn, and Bobby all convene in a circle with their arms around each other. They lower their head and pray. We pull back from them, their trailer and their wrecked Suburban, the vastness of the desert darkened around the edges, as we realize that we're watching through a pair of binoculars. As Bob and Doug take off in opposite directions down the road, the person peering through the binoculars growls and grunts. Later, Lynn collects Catherine from her crib when she wakes up from her nap. Outside, Ethel snaps at Brenda to get her feet off the table. Just because they're camping doesn't mean that Brenda gets to act like a pig. Lynn sits down with them to breastfeed Catherine, but Ethel gives her some unsolicited advice. Lynn really shouldn't go back and forth between the breast and the bottle. At Catherine's age, she should get used to one or the other. Lynn thanks her mother for the advice before reminding her that Catherine is her baby. Ethel backs off, which I'm like, ma'am, we're not doing this. Lynn changes the subject, asserting that she can't believe they're stranded here on Ethel and Bob's anniversary. Annoyed, Brenda adds that if they would have just stayed on the main road, they'd be in California right now. Lynn sighs, what she wouldn't give right now for a hot shower and a cold margarita. Brenda agrees. The beach. Lynn, a massage. Ethel reasons that she would take a real bed. Brenda adds, the chronic? Ethel's like, what? But Lynn calls her sister's name with a laugh. When Lynn explains to their mother that it's pot, Ethel is appalled. This gains Bobby's attention, who comes out of the trailer wondering, who smokes pot? And Ethel repeats the question, earning an innocent shrug from Brenda. But Bobby walks over with water and sets it down on the table, asking if anyone has seen his red hoodie. I did like that because he doesn't get back in the Suburban.
Yeah.
He wouldn't even notice that it was gone because he was riding in the trailer with Doug. So I did like that prolonged moment of, wait, we can't leave. Where's my sweater? You know what I mean?
Yeah,
he wouldn't know until now.
Okay.
He directs the question to Brenda, who he remembers was sleeping on it. But Brenda shoots back that she hasn't touched his smelly sweatshirt. The dogs start to bark loudly inside the trailer, and when Brenda asks what's got them so excited, Ethel guesses that there's probably rattlesnakes around. Bobby pours himself a glass of water and asks his mother if she knows how Freud would have interpreted her obsession with rattlesnakes. This made me laugh because I was like, God damn, lady, like 80% of your lines have been about rattlesnakes.
And it's funny that Bobby is noticing.
Yeah.
You sure are talking...
Him calling it out made me laugh because I'm like, Ethel, okay. We're all scared of rattlesnakes. Everyone laughs, including Ethel, who throws a towel at her son, and Bobby sips his water with satisfaction as his sisters call him gross. He decides to apologize to the entire table because that was gross. Ethel tells her kids that she's glad they all took this trip together, but Brenda replies that makes one of them. She gets up from the table and heads inside the trailer, immediately letting Beauty out. Bobby, I don't know, Bobby's been designated the dog.
Yeah.
What?
I swear to God, the second that she did that, and she just is like, and yes, you can go this way, dog. It's like, what the fuck, dude?
He jumps up to chase after Beauty once again, and Ethel chases him, calling out that it's dinner time. So Brenda offers to go get Bobby herself, and Ethel laments that this always happens. Lynn stays behind, chuckling as she feeds her baby. But Bobby was like, I just fucking got them here, dude.
And I don't understand Ethel being like, it's dinner time. It's like, yeah, the dog's out. I don't know what you want me to do.
No shit.
Keep it warm, please.
Yeah.
The dog's like, oh, you're eating dinner. I'll wait, dude.
Yeah.
That's rude
Sorry,
as
I'll
hell.
come
I'm
back.
sorry.
I will run away later.
And all the time? How many times have we done this?
I swear to God.
These dogs break free the second that they get a chance. Bobby is already sprinting to the hills, calling after Beauty as he trails her. But the score grows ominous when Bobby continues forward alone on the rocky terrain. He follows the sound of Beauty's barks, but he stops with a gasp when the barking turns to whimpering, echoing off of the rocks. Bobby still presses on, calling out for the dog when the crying goes quiet. But he turns with wide eyes with someone in a red sweater rushes by. Unnerved, he arms himself with the rock and goes to investigate, but he rounds the corner to find nothing. But someone with bracelets pulled over the arms of the sweater and the hood over their head watches from above. Still clutching the rock, Bobby comes upon a trail of blood in the dirt. Following it, he finds Beauty lying dead and bloody among the rocks. Bobby immediately breaks down in tears. He throws the rock down, the word fuck choked in his throat. He kneels down and inspects Beauty, his face trembling with emotion. But when he finds that the dog has been completely eviscerated, he backs away, terrified. That was fast.
Yeah. You just heard the little bit of whimpering, and then it's this?
Yeah.
I was very, very shocked.
Beauty didn't deserve it.
No. Bobby breaks into a sprint, running so fast and frantic that he quickly loses his footing. And when the hill comes to a sudden end, he goes sprawling over the edge. Bobby lands hard on his back and goes still. But the person in the red hoodie approaches with toes peeking out of their weathered socks. Ruby, played by Laura Ortiz, kneels and extends a curious hand towards Bobby, two of the fingers fused together. She gently touches the blood hidden behind his hair and feels it between her fingers. She looks with wonder, her eyes uneven in her strange face. So obviously the disfigurement that we are seeing with Ruby is digital. There's a lot of really great practical work, but there are a couple instances where, like this one, it was manipulated digitally. They took scans of Laura Ortiz's face to try to preserve this effect even when she moved the angle of her head. But they had like little dots on her face, and then they were able to use those points to manipulate it digitally and kind of stretch out the space between her eyes, have one lower down, you know.
Okay.
Jameson Goey was the VisFX supervisor. He had worked on Hellraiser, Hellseeker, Hansel and Gretel, and Halloween Resurrection.
Okay.
But he said that Aja was very particular about the CG being sparse. And in a lot of cases it is. It's really just to like supplement the practical effects that are there. But he made it clear that he wanted them to do that, to be in addition to instead of in place of. But there are over 130 VisFX shots crafted for this film.
Wow.
And I'll point out a couple along the way because some you're like, what?
I was gonna say, because honestly, I knew about the fish.
Yeah. Wow.
Did you?
But I feel like they're so well implemented
Yes.
Yeah.
that you really don't point it out so often to say, oh, well, that looks.
Yeah.
Yeah.
There's just a couple times.
I'm sure that there's times I never even thought. I just, oh man, that makeup looks great, or they did a really good job with that prosthetic or something, and damn.
Yeah, that's the difference between not fully relying on it and just using it to tweak.
Yeah.
Like, that's the way to do it, you know? But when more blood drops down on Bobby, Ruby looks up onto one of the cliffs to find Goggle, played by Ezra Buzzington. The mound of his nose blends in with the rest of his face, his nostrils mere slits in the flesh. Silhouetted against the sky, Goggle nods on a bleeding piece of meat. It looks like a limb.
Yes.
Yeah.
He eyes Ruby, his deformed face shadowed beneath his hat, and when she cowers beneath him, he thrusts the piece of meat toward her, cackling before sinking his teeth into it again. This is kind of the first creature design, so to speak, that we see. This is the work of K&B.
Very
Okay.
cool.
I think, you know, obviously they never disappoint. Greg Nicotero said that they researched deformities from nuclear fallout for the designs of these mutants. He said that Scott Patton worked with Aja and Levasseur's designs, and they did the characters digitally at first. Then they used the digital designs to sculpt maquettes to send to Aja for approval. Once they got the okay, they finally started the prosthetic work.
Okay.
And it's really good. And I love this idea. Like, we see kind of some pretty extreme stuff, and I love the idea of them making these little maquettes of these characters.
Yeah.
Like, I bet they looked so cool.
And you think about like the conditions that they're in as far as the temperature is concerned.
Right.
Yeah.
How difficult it must be for the performers and for the people doing the makeup.
Oh,
Yes.
yeah.
So it's very impressive.
They said for the mutants, on average, it was like a 4-hour makeup job
Ooh.
apiece.
Damn.
Yeah. But alone on the road, Doug sings California Dreaming to himself as he walks through the wavering heat.
It's very catchy.
His singing stops and his steps slow when he approaches the edge of the road. Doug takes off his hat and sunglasses and looks down to the ground far below. He asks, "What the fuck?" Below him, abandoned cars are scattered, and a crow, perhaps embodied by Randall Flagg, stands on one of them and caws roughly.
Well, he wasn't humming "Baby, Can You Dig Your Man," so I'm not
No,
sure.
so I don't think it's-
I don't know.
It's his
Maybe
cousin.
not him.
Yeah.
Wouldn't this raise some alarm though, seeing this? Even, I mean, it does look, again, there's a giant crater, there's cars down there, but what is this?
What I will tell you right now is Doug's reaction to this would not be my reaction.
No.
No.
Especially how he returns to the group later.
Yeah.
No.
I
Because
was like, is this dude for real?
this is honestly
Survival instincts of an ant.
Yeah.
it's so frightening from the side of it. Not only the fact that this road ends,
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
but what is there at the end of it?
Yeah. For real.
We find that Doug has made his way down here, and he walks among the vehicles, cars, trucks, ATVs, all abandoned in the dirt. He goes to one of the cars and peers inside, oblivious to the bloody handprint smeared on the other side.
One thing that I really liked is you can see all the different eras that these
Yeah.
cars.
Yeah.
So it's like, how long?
Yeah.
You know?
He reaches into the car and takes a forgotten teddy bear from the back seat. He smacks the dust off of it for good measure and takes it with him when he closes the door.
Finders keepers.
Yeah, I guess.
I'm not fucking giving my baby that, dude.
No.
Doug continues to explore, taking the time to dust the dirt off a mangled convertible, but he's startled when crows fly up from inside, letting loose their harsh cries as they fly away. And we follow, realizing from our new aerial view that Doug is standing amongst the cars and one of the many craters left behind by nuclear devastation.
This is staggering.
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
And it is, it's obviously digital work.
Mm-hmm.
It looks fantastic.
Yes.
Yeah.
And one is enough.
Yeah.
But to see this,
That there's, again, the fact that there's more, like you said, that's like, oh man. what-
Terrifying.
I got to go back. I'm not grabbing anything here.
mm-hmm.
I'm leaving.
But what if we need a fishing pole later?
or a baseball bat.
I am a little surprised it's not a matte painting.
Yes.
Yeah,
Honestly.
there is an instance where a matte painting was utilized though when the hills are super off in the
Okay,
distance.
all right.
Okay.
They were not specific on commentary, but they were like, "Can we use things like matte paintings?" I'm like, "Tell me when."
Yeah, where?
Honestly, this could be a matte painting. The way that it
It
looks.
could, yeah.
Right?
Yeah,
Okay.
for sure. For sure.
It just looks great.
Yeah.
And when in doubt, it's always a matte painting. Panning across the desert, we follow the rocky ledges to a row of blackened, cartless tracks, and finally, down through the uneven wooden slats of a mine shaft. Everything goes black. That night, under the watchful eye of the bright moon in the sky, Big Bob finally makes it back to the gas station, where In the Valley of the Sun by Buddy Stewart plays.
I always call out because I love these shots of the moon whenever they're in a film.
Yeah.
But I did wonder if it was kind of this more thoughtful transition because the moon also has a lot of craters. And
Oh, okay.
I love that.
it's like tying it together in an interesting way.
Yeah, it did. I'm like, dude, he said that this gas station was 8 miles away.
Mm-hmm.
He said that he was going to walk the 8 miles back to this gas station, talk to this dude, borrow his car, and be back with the tow truck before nightfall.
He did.
And it's full night when he's rocking up to it.
Well, he's probably fighting rattlesnakes. and
Yeah.
shit.
No way.
Yeah.
And
We
Cheddar
just-
Bob?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yes.
He got into a couple rap battles.
He was busy, dude. He threw up spaghetti on his sweater, I believe.
Okay, my bad. But Bob calls out, "Hello?" His voice standing out against the dark thrumming of the score. When Bob steps inside, he pulls his hat from his head and lets out a sigh. When no one answers his calls, he goes to one of the fridges and takes out a bottle of water. Shadows of scampering people glide across the ground outside, but inside, Bob reports that he had a wreck on the attendant's shortcut. He still receives no answer. There is no movement beyond the beads of the attendant's personal room, but Bob admits that he grabs some water and he sets a couple dollar bills down on the counter. When Bob tries the phone on the wall and finds it dead, he hangs it up with a clang and starts to knock on the wall, calling out loudly for the attendant. We're watching from in the room when Bob finally pulls the rattling beads to the side and steps into the attendant's personal area. As with Len, the first thing he sees is the open duffel on the small table. But he is not as subtle as his daughter. Big Bob reaches inside, pulling out a digital camera, a handful of jewelry, and finally, he peels open the lid of the little styrofoam container, revealing the bloody, pierced ear inside. Without a word, Bob's hand instinctively goes to the gun at his hip. He pulls it out and keeps his voice casual when he continues calling out to the attendant. He steps into the dark bedroom, and when it's devoid of anyone, he switches on a desk lamp. Using the barrel of his gun, he rifles through an overflowing drawer, stuffed with credit cards, driver's licenses, and full money clips. On the wall, there's a collection of newspaper clippings, some of the headlines announcing in bold, government ceases nuclear testing, nuclear weapons entering new age, and troops called. Dozens of photos are tacked up alongside these papers, and Bob lifts the lamp to get a better look of the pages. We see more headlines. Miners refuse to abandon their lands despite military intervention. Families suspected of hiding in mines. Military razes miner town to the ground. Families evacuated by force, now left homeless. Bob focuses on the pictures of miners, of genetically deformed babies and children, alone and then with their families. Finally, we focus in on more newspapers. Family vanishes in the New Mexico foothills. Local authorities search for missing Illinois families. Local authorities haunted by mysterious desert disappearances. New Mexico desert, a new Bermuda Triangle. Bob breathes, weird son of a bitch.
That's very light for finding an ear within his belongings.
Yeah.
Uh-huh.
And for everything that you've seen, it is very interesting that he's keeping a record of all these newspapers and all this stuff. It's odd that he has this because it seems that he's very disturbed by the fact that he is a part of it.
Yeah.
He's guilty.
And he's like, well, they're talking about us, which is pretty cool. You like to see your name in the paper or whatever, but it seems a little odd
Yeah,
to me.
for him, like you were saying, just the weird. I was like, what? And the newspaper clippings to me, I was like, dude, I think you're in trouble.
And you can piece together what's going on
Right.
here, and that you're a victim.
Yeah.
That he sent you there for this to happen.
Mm-hmm. That is kind of odd. I know he doesn't expect people to come inside later, but he really needs to get more than beads. for that thing.
And he left the duffel in the same spot and still open. Like he didn't take any of the stuff out. He's like, I almost got caught once. It's not gonna happen twice.
Yeah, that's crazy.
What are the odds? Bob steps out into the night with his gun drawn. He slips behind the wheel of the attendant's car and quickly finds the keys in the visor. Bob tries to start it, and while the engine doesn't turn over, the headlights come on, illuminating the outhouse. The attendant's voice calls out, high and wavering, warning Jupiter that he's got a buckshot. Bob gets out of the car with his gun drawn. He calls out to the attendant as he inches forward. But with his boot sticking out of the cracked outhouse door, the attendant sobs that Bob doesn't understand what's going on here. The kids, they grew up in those mines like wild animals. Thrusting his gun forward, Bob commands the attendant to open the door slowly, but he just continues to cry. What kind of place is that for children? Bob rips open the outhouse door and points the gun at the attendant, who sits inside, crying. He repeats himself, unfazed by the gun in his face. What kind of place is that? Bob warns him to put the weapon down, and we see now that the gas station attendant is holding a bottle of Jack Daniels in one hand and a shotgun in the other. He sobs as he takes a long drink. He looks up at Big Bob with sorrowful red-rimmed eyes and admits, I did the best I could. I'm sorry. The attendant brings the barrel of the gun to the shelf under his chin and pulls the trigger. His head explodes, and a hole is shot through the roof of the outhouse, leaving Bob to stare in horror at the gruesome splayed remains attached to the attendant's neck.
When I was 15, this is what stayed with me.
Okay.
One of the biggest things from this film, not only just because of how shocking it is,
Right.
but how it looks.
It's terrible what's happening, but the effects.
It looks great, yeah.
God damn.
And it's so sudden.
Yeah.
This was really effective. I just would have loved to understand the gas station attendant's role more before this happens.
I feel like it is kind of odd, you're right, because we meet him and he's like, I'm done doing this.
Right.
And then he immediately does it again. I feel like maybe if he had perceived that ear as more of a threat,
Yes.
Okay.
like the, don't talk with the teeth and then the ear,
Yeah.
don't listen either.
Right.
But if there was this thing where you have this push and pull for him,
Yeah.
where he's like, but I have to,
Right.
because if I don't, then this will happen.
Yes.
But he just kind of changes his mind immediately the second that this family pulls up.
Yeah. No listening. You hear me?
No?
Spoilers for the original, for what I understand of the original at least, because I was trying to figure out the differences in the story. But from what I understand, this gas station attendant is Jupiter's father in the original. And Jupiter, I think, murdered his sister. And then, or like he was killing their livestock, and then he murdered his sister, and the gas station attendant beats him with a tire iron and leaves him for dead in the hills. But Jupiter doesn't die, and he's out there having children with this deranged woman that also lives in the hills. So these kids are the rest of these people that we meet. Jupiter is their father. I'm assuming he's their father in this one too, but I don't know that it's very clear.
Yeah,
I know he goes by Papa, but like it could be a nickname. I don't know.
Yeah.
Or their found family. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
I don't know.
Yeah.
But in the original, I believe that he is their father. Like that's their dad, and Mama is the woman that he's having these children with. And I think that I guess, see an iteration of Mama later on. But again, I would have loved more of that here, where like he's like, even if it's like, okay, yeah, before they die, they tell their whole story and then they fucking die. I wouldn't even care, because I think that lore like that is so interesting, and it gives more context to all these characters that we're going to meet later. But, you know, I mean, I guess they grew up in the mines and with the nuclear fallout and whatever. But I feel like that doesn't fully explain what his connection to these people are, because he's not like these people.
He's not. And the discussion, or at least the implication of that kind of a deal.
Yes.
Yeah.
It's like, I would love to see more regarding that. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And I mean, even like it could be explained, like if that were the case here, that he feels guilty, that is his son, or like his Jupiter's like, I'm going to fucking kill you. There's more of us now. Like, you know what I mean? Like, who knows? They could have done a lot of things, because I feel like they have some really cool ideas involving this, you know, nuclear devastation in this situation, the implication of like this perfect American dream with this shit, you know, shoved under the rug and hidden under the bed. I love it. I wish we would have explored it further.
Oh, yeah.
And this moment would be like a pretty cool square off with the kind of father that this gas station attendant is, and the kind of father that Big Bob is. And I feel like that really could have been a cool juxtaposition, but it's very surface what we get of these connection of these characters in these hills.
Yeah.
And I just, when I'm buying into a movie like this, that's what I want to see. I want to know more. But an unseen person intones in a gruff voice, "Daddy." Bob turns, and when the voice repeats itself, he fires blindly into the darkness. The word is repeated again and again in taunted whispers. "Daddy, Daddy." Bob stumbles back to the attendant's car with his head on a swivel. But here, when the voice is deep, calm, and close, "Daddy," he sees that its owner is sitting right in the back seat. I was pretty disappointed in Bob.
Yeah.
Being honest.
I understand it's dark and you're scared.
Yeah.
But also my first question before he starts to beat the fuck out of me is how did I hear you at the outhouse?
Yeah. No shit.
How is that even possible?
Explain this to me really quick.
He's just making a fist. It's like, wait.
I won't even struggle.
No.
I gotta know.
Bob looks up to the rearview mirror and locks eyes with the reflection of Papa Jupiter, played by Billy Drago.
Billy Drago. I know this man from The Untouchables in '87. Fantastic movie. He was also in Delta Force 2, The Colombian Connection in '90, and Tremors 4, The Legend Begins in '04.
There
The
you
legend
go.
began at Tremors 4.
Well, I'm sure it's a prequel or something.
Before Big Bob can do anything, he is grabbed from the back seat. Jupiter smashes his head against the window again and again, shattering the glass, sending blood spraying from Bob's mouth and finally the top of his head. His face is covered in blood, and he stares desperately when Papa Jupiter throws him onto a wooden pallet. He pulls it along the tracks leading to the mine, and he drags Big Bob into its darkness. Inside, Bob stares in semi-consciousness. He looks up through blurred vision at a hulking figure and listens to the bickering and cackling as he's pulled along the tracks. Finally, Bob slips into unconsciousness. But back at the trailer, Beast barks, but the chain around his collar keeps him from running away. Lynn walks close to the trailer, calling out for Brenda and prompting her sister to turn. With the flashlight in her hand and a blanket around her shoulders, Brenda calls out to Lynn that she'll be back in just a minute before turning forward and calling Bobby's name. The beam of her flashlight bobs along the rocks, but Bobby is still lying where he fell, presumably hours ago, with Ruby kneeling by his side.
Yeah.
It's fully dark now.
You're right.
Ruby hums to him softly as his eyes move behind their closed lids. But when Brenda's voice gets closer, Ruby scrambles away fearfully. In the trailer, Ethel cleans and tends to the cut on her son's head. She lectures that he is so lucky Brenda found him. What if he had to spend the whole night out there in the cold? She's like, because I wasn't going to go looking for you.
Dinner was ready.
Dinner was ready.
I'm going to be honest. I forgot he was down there.
I did too.
Yeah.
Bob, like...
A lot has happened.
Yeah, Big Bob got taken out so quick. I was kind of a little like, oh, wow. And then we come back to him and I was like, oh, shit, I forgot he was asleep down there.
Yeah.
Yeah, and we're also contending with those craters.
Yeah.
Yes.
That's right.
Yes. Brenda speaks up from the couch, reassuring her brother that he doesn't need to worry. Beauty will come back when she gets hungry. Instead of refuting this with what he saw in the hills, Bobby chooses to ask instead if they tried the radio. Ethel says that it doesn't work, but Lynn counters that they did hear something, some kind of breathing. When Bobby asks further, all Lynn can offer is that it was weird. When she asks her mom to confirm, Linda proposes that it was probably just static. But Lynn isn't accepting this. She tells Bobby that it sounded like a perverted phone call. Brenda laughs at this and jokes that only their mother would get an obscene call out here.
I feel like I would have liked to have seen this call.
Yes.
Yeah.
It's very odd that they're just talking about it. I know, again, we're bouncing around all these different groups, but that's a very important thing that there was some kind of contact made.
Yeah.
And I love that they've all gathered around and listened to this when Bobby's just fucking gone.
Yeah. Like, it sounds like a pervert.
Well, does anybody see
Yeah, do
Bobby?
we have another kid?
Yeah. He has been gone for a long ass time.
But when Beast starts to bark outside, Bobby nearly jumps out of his skin. He gets up to investigate, demanding that his mother and sisters stay here. When Bobby hurries out of the trailer, Brenda wonders what's wrong with him. He's holding his gun when he rounds the corner of the trailer and finds that Beast is no longer at the end of his chain. Beast barks distantly in the hills, and Bobby calls out for him, but he jumps and spins around, pointing his gun when someone clamps a hand down on his shoulder and says his name. It's only Doug, with his hands full of pillaged items from the broken down cars, who yells again for Bobby not to point that gun at him.
I guess he found a Walmart or some shit. He's like, dude, we're safe this way.
Yeah. Bobby sets the gun down and apologizes, but Doug gets over it quickly. He tells Bobby that he should see the place he found out there. It's like something out of the Twilight Zone. He knocks on the window to the trailer, and when Ethel asks if it's Bob out there, her daughters report that it's Doug. Lynn immediately runs out and greets him with a kiss, thanking God that he's okay. She was so worried about him. Bobby leans against the trailer trying to catch his breath, worry clouding his expression. But Doug assures his wife that he's fine. He's just exhausted. He hands over a set of paddles and a ball and holds up a fishing pole and a bat, boasting that he found a crater out there that must be used for a dumping site. He's never seen anything like it in his life. He tells them that all this stuff is brand new. But Lynn doesn't understand what they're supposed to do with the fishing line in the desert. He was supposed to go find someone.
All this stuff is brand new is hilarious.
Yeah.
Because that shouldn't be like a thing to say, hey, we should all go out there and try to find some stuff.
Yeah.
That should be, why is it brand new?
Why
Yes.
was it left behind?
Who left this behind?
That's more worrying.
Yes.
If it's old, okay, it was abandoned or whatever. That's dumping.
He's like, hell yeah, bro.
It seems like
is
very
awesome.
Homer Simpson. It's like, Marge, they got all this free stuff out there. It's like, dude, what are you doing?
Yeah.
This is why Big Bob hates you.
Literally.
Yeah, probably.
We can't even defend you anymore.
No.
But Doug reports that the road dead ends in 5 miles. That's where the crater is. It isn't a shortcut. It's just desert. Lynn sighs that she knew that old man was full of shit. And Doug offers that he can only hope Bob did better than he did. Still inside the trailer, Ethel wonders if maybe they missed a turn somewhere. But Doug just wants to know if they made any dinner. He's starving. Lynn says that they did and invites her husband into the trailer. But Bobby is still standing watch at the end of it, fighting back tears. And nobody's paying any mind to Bobby,
Yeah.
who's crying at the end of the trailer.
And I'm sorry again. He was discovered by his sister, brought back. They're tending to his wounds, etc. At any point, you could tell us about Beauty.
Yeah.
Literally at any
Yeah.
point, especially after hearing about this radio contact.
That's what I was going to say. Where we found this dead end, the weird, creepy breathing that we never heard. The dog? Beauty? Come on, dude. But we got to...
And
What are we
nobody's
doing?
like, where's Beast?
Yeah, that's true too. Yeah.
But in the hills, Beast finds Beauty and whimpers as he inspects her body. Meanwhile, Bobby closes and locks the door to the trailer once everyone is inside. But Lynn tells him not to lock it. They're leaving in a second. Bobby is shocked that they're not going to wait until his dad gets back. But as Doug settles Catherine into her little crib, he says that they're not waiting. He's exhausted and he needs to get some sleep. They eat already?
Yeah, I know.
So he was going in to eat. But anyway, Bobby thinks it would be better if everyone stayed here, though. He's going to sleep on the floor and his mom and Brenda will be up front. That leaves Doug and Lynn to take the back, and they have extra sleeping bags, too. But lowering his voice, Doug says that 6 people sleeping in a 3-person trailer is not comfortable, and it's a little bit weird. He's like, I'm trying to fuck your sister.
Dude,
Jesus Christ.
Well, I'm like, what? There is no reason. We
No.
should not be splitting up.
The word weird?
yeah.
And it's
This
a
is
little
weird.
weird.
Yes.
This whole
Yes,
situation is weird.
Exactly. Everything we've been through, that's
What you're worried about. Yeah. And there is more than enough room. There's a couch in here. There's a bed.
Yeah.
There's the seats up front. Like there's more. This is so fucking stupid.
And the only one that really needs to be refreshed and awake is Big Bob.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Everybody else, like, I don't understand. And yes, let's all go to sleep while Big Bob. Like,
Yeah.
how could you even go to sleep?
Yeah, there's
Bedtime.
no... Yeah.
Damn it. He knows when bedtime is.
Yeah, it's like we're strict about dinner time. We're strict about bedtime. The Carter family.
He'd want it. Bob wants to go.
He would. If he comes back and we're awake, he's going to be fucking pissed. Doug ends the conversation, calling out to Lynn to bring the water. But once he steps outside, Bobby grabs him and asks to talk to him. After checking in with Lynn and learning that she's almost ready to go, Doug asks Bobby what's wrong. Bobby starts to speak, but when he only stammers instead, Doug interrupts. He assures Bobby that his dad will be back soon, and he reminds him that they're talking about Big Bob. It's going to take more than snakes and scorpions in the night to stop him. Before Bobby can respond, Lynn slides past him and leaves the trailer. When Doug asks if she's got pillows, she tells them they're in the Suburban, which is like, that's what you're worried about right
Yeah.
now. It's like, my pillows are all right. But that Bobby was trying to tell him. I think he didn't want to scare, he says later he didn't want to scare them. So he's probably like, look, something's wrong. Like, I can tell Doug. But Doug's like, it's fine. Let's talk more about snakes and scorpions in the night for some reason. Doug starts to follow his wife, but he stops to address Bobby again. If Bob isn't back by midnight, they'll both go looking for him. Deal? Bobby quietly agrees, and Doug and Lynn depart, telling him goodnight. On their way to the Suburban, Doug spritzes himself with mosquito repellent, and when Lynn tells him that there aren't any mosquitoes in the desert, he doubles down that there's mosquitoes everywhere. Back in the trailer, Brenda kisses Catherine goodnight and starts her mobile before climbing into bed. It twinkles a lullaby as it spins overhead, and Catherine and Brenda slip into sleep. But in the front of the trailer, while Ethel dozes on the couch, Bobby is wide awake, shaking his foot and turning his big flashlight on and off. He checks his watch, 11:49. Beast's barks echo outside, and Bobby perks up. He grabs his gun and heads out of the trailer. Bobby sweeps the area with the beam of his flashlight and calls out for Beast. But back inside, Brenda sleeps obliviously with headphones in her ears. She doesn't stir when the lamp next to her is turned on, and she continues to sleep when a trembling hand reaches out and brushes her blonde hair out of her face. Ethel is still sleeping on the couch, ignorant of anything happening. While Bobby searches for Beast, Brenda's sheets are pulled away, revealing her body clad in her robe. The intruder takes in a shuddering breath. We finally see Pluto, played by Michael Bailey Smith. A gnarled ear, sporadic yellowed teeth jutting from swollen gums. His bulbous head so lumpy that one eye is rendered nearly useless. He stares at Brenda.
Michael Bailey Smith. He was in Nightmare on Elm Street 5, The Dream Child.
Huh.
In 89. Men in Black 2 in 02. And The Hills Have Eyes 2 in 07.
Well,
Interesting.
good for him. Okay.
That's
It's a surprise.
yeah.
That's fine.
Yeah.
Good for him.
It's a lot of questions though.
Outside, Bobby focuses the beam of his flashlight when he hears a man grunting. Beast responds in kind, growling and barking feverishly. Bobby runs away, hurrying back toward the trailer. Pluto continues to play with Brenda's hair, smoothing it away from her face until she finally wakes up. Her eyes widen in horror and she opens her mouth to scream, but Pluto immediately clamps his horrible hand over her mouth. The swiftness that he did that was very scary to me.
Agreed.
Like she to scream and
Yeah.
he, like it, that was very unnerving to me.
It is. I think them just being so big, it's like, you're not a ninja, dude. You didn't
No, he's
come
a
in
big
here.
old
You're,
dude.
Yeah,
Yeah.
you're going to be stomping on the way up, and like, you didn't sneak in here.
And that's the
That's
other
kind
thing
of
that's very fair.
Yeah.
But I think something that pisses me off about Bobby is he runs off into the wilderness for Beast with the only weapon they really have.
No, yeah.
And he leaves the fucking door wide open.
Mm-hmm.
I don't understand. You are the only one that has
Any
this
knowledge.
level of knowledge.
Yeah.
And you're really like, there's,
I know.
what is there anything between those ears?
Yeah, I don't understand. Wait, was that his ear?
I think so.
Yeah.
Like, and we
brain
took
fell out.
most of the brain
Yeah.
as well.
Instead of going back to the trailer, Bobby runs to the Suburban instead and pounds on the window, waking Lynn and Doug inside. They roll it down and Bobby reveals that there is something going on around here. There are people or something living in the hills. Lynn tries to calm her brother down, but Doug can't help but openly scoff and laugh. Bobby tries to explain, but Lynn tells him to listen. They're in the middle of nowhere. There is nobody living in those hills. But Lynn is the one that saw something.
Yeah.
But Bobby starts to cry and finally admits that Beauty is dead. He found her and it looked like somebody cut her open. This finally gets through to Lynn, and Bobby explains that he didn't say anything earlier because he didn't want to scare everyone. He didn't want their mom to get upset. But he's telling them now that there is something going on, and he reminds them all that their dad isn't even back yet. Doug finally snaps into action, assuring Lynn that he's going to go check it out. Bobby warns his sister that they're not alone, and Doug tells her to just stay here and lock the car. As they walk past the window of the trailer, we go back inside to find Pluto restraining Brenda to her bed with his hand over her mouth, muffling her screams. He grins as he looks through the window and raises a walkie to his lips. He growls, "Now!" Suddenly, a fire explodes in the distance, and we press in on it shakily to find that it's Big Bob, strapped to a tree and set ablaze. He screams deliriously.
I just want to say very quickly that this motion of the camera, the fact that he had some kind of device rigged up to explode
Yeah.
Big Bob, I don't know if it was just too late at night. I had one of the best laughs I've had in quite a long time. It's a very horrible thing.
It is.
But at the same time, the way that it is unveiled to me was very, very funny.
It is.
To you.
No, it is.
Because I know that I don't want to like upset or offend people that love this movie, and they say that was the best thing
Right.
about the film was this shot. But to me, I cracked up a little bit.
A
lot.
On
No,
the commentary, Aja said that he loves the shot, that they utilized everything they had at their disposal with like the shaky movement going up to it, the CG fire being added, like Bob's eyes kind of go pale with CG with the performance. Like he was like, this encapsulates everything that we had to give with this film. So if you're not offending a listener, you're certainly offending.
I'm sorry to this man.
Yeah. No, and I'm glad he likes it, but I'm in the same camp because
Glad he likes it.
yeah,
I had a chuckle at the almost absurdity because I thought that he was going to say now and they were going to fucking swarm or something.
Me too.
Like
right.
it was like, what are we doing?
Maybe it's that, but it does. I think the shaky cam zoom makes it feel like a different movie. If this was sillier, more like, I don't know, if they were mutants, then it would be like, oh shit, we're still here.
Yeah.
It's not.
No, and it does, and it very much feels early 2000s. Like that, that shaky, like it really feels of its time. Not that that's negative or positive, it just really, really does. And just being like, oh shit, that's Bob, dude. Like, and because when like Jupiter's banging his head against the glass, it looks like blood and stuff spurts from the top of his head.
Yeah.
So I thought he was dead. And then when he wakes up and they're dragging him, it's like, oh, he's kind of clinging to life. He's, I mean, wide awake.
Yeah.
He's present for all of this, which is terrible. But I just really wasn't expecting that to be what now was. I didn't. That was that command.
Yes.
That's
the
pretty
audacity
wild.
of that.
Bobby takes off running toward the fire, and Ethel is finally awake. She stands in the trailer's open doorway, clutching her robe when she realizes that it's Bob. She starts to run, but Doug stops her, asserting that they don't know what this is.
Oh my God.
It is. A couple of them literally say, that's Bob.
Yeah.
And he's like, hold on.
Yeah. Let's make sure.
Doug is...
I think I know your husband's voice better than you do. But also, Ethel is standing in the trailer. She doesn't hear Brenda. I know that he's muffling her screams, but we're in the trailer together.
Yeah.
That was another thing I was going to wait. But from where Ethel comes, dude, there's a straight eye shot from where you would wake up to see where your daughter is being held at. For you to pretend and like look down while you get up and then run to the door to finally look up and then leave.
I think the strength logistically here is things are so outrageous and they're happening so quickly that in the moment you're not like, Ethel, turn your head to the left. You're just like, what the fuck is going on? But if you stop to think about it for 1 second, there's no reason she shouldn't have seen or heard anything while she's standing in the doorway.
Yeah.
But Ethel repeats, it's Bob. She pulls away from him and sprints after Bobby. After a moment, Doug dashes into the trailer and grabs the fire extinguisher from under the sink. He absently calls out for Brenda to watch the baby, but Brenda is still pinned to the bed in the back of the trailer, crying out against Pluto's hand over her mouth.
Again.
Yeah, he ran and looked over there and then still...
He was like, look, I can do one thing at a time.
I know time is of the essence with the Burning Man.
Yeah.
Doug leaves the trailer and runs toward the fire with the extinguisher. But as soon as he's gone, someone jumps from the top of the vehicle and lands in the dirt. Lizard, played by Robert Joy, scurries into the trailer with the gun in his hand and the spike strip draped over his shoulder. He closes the door behind him.
Robert Joy. He was in Land of the Dead in 2005, AVP Requiem in 2007, and Superhero Movie in 2008.
All right.
He has Busey energy to me.
A little, yeah.
Kind of chaotic. Yeah, I can see that. Catherine is awake and screaming in her crib as Lizard takes an apron from the counter and sniffs it before pulling it on. Pluto chuckles from the bed as Lizard places Ethel's hat over his head. Big Bob still blazes and screams in the flames as his family approaches, but Lizard is raiding the fridge, pulling out a jug of milk and gulping from it. But something catches his attention, and he looks over at the counter with his sliced lip pulled up in a permanent sneer. So the dentures that they had Robert Joy wearing had that piece jutting up. That's his lip is actually being lifted.
Oh, wow.
With the prosthetic. And
How
they just kind of removed it.
uncomfortable.
I
Yeah,
know.
I know.
But like it was actually making him drool. It was actually making him speak that way because his lip was really being pulled up.
Yeah.
It's really great work, honestly.
It is.
Much to the chagrin of any long-term Pod Mortem listener, Lizard spots a cage with 2 colorful and twittering birds inside.
Heart was broken immediately.
Oh, yeah. I knew it was coming.
We all know.
Yeah.
We can never get a break with these birds.
No.
Doug aims at the fire and releases a stream from the extinguisher, but Bob still burns and shrieks. Lizard grips one of the birds and without hesitation brings it to his lips and bites its head off. He throws his head back and raises the bird, squeezing its blood into his waiting mouth. So this basically was like a bird-shaped bottle, the way that they constructed it.
Oh, wow.
The head was a lid. He bites the lid off and squeezes the bottle and the blood comes out.
Okay.
It is so memorable.
Yeah.
Yes,
A terrible sight, but it's a good gag.
it is. Ethel is hysterical. She sobs and beats Doug as he tries to extinguish the fire. Doug screams at Lynn to get her mother out of here. And she and Ethel both cry when Lynn pulls her back. Bob grows less energetic in the fire, and Bobby stands by, sobbing. But Lizard wipes his mouth with the back of his hand and notices Pluto straddling Brenda on the bed. He grabs Pluto and pulls him off onto the floor, declaring that you gotta be a man to do that. When Pluto reaches up for him, Lizard swiftly retrieves his gun and cracks the butt of it against Pluto's head. He spins it and presses the barrel against Pluto's face, screaming that he told him to move. So move! Pluto cowers, whimpering on the floor, and when he gets up and starts to make for the door, Lizard kicks him in the ass and helps him along the way. And I will say this next part is rough. Brenda is screaming on the bed as Pluto throws a tantrum, smashing his fists into the wall and pulling items from the kitchen cabinets. Brenda flails and hits Lizard with her pillow as Pluto rages, but Lizard quickly gets the upper hand and takes it from her, hitting her with it instead. When he grasps her knees and tries to pull them apart, Brenda fights him, but she falls back when he hits her across the face. Pluto knocks the birdcage and the remaining bird off the counter while Lizard fumbles with his pants. Brenda rolls over and grasps desperately at the window over her bed, knocking the blinds with her reaching fingers as Lizard pulls down her pajamas. When Catherine lets out a piercing wail, Pluto perks up. He turns back to the room and babbles at the baby as Lizard forces himself on Brenda out of focus in the background. Outside, Doug continues to spray the flames with spurts from the extinguisher. Ethel sobs that that's not her Bob, but Lynn leads her away. As they get closer to the trailer, Lynn hears her sister's screams. She tells her weeping mother to just stay here as she rushes to investigate. When Lynn enters the trailer, she finds Lizard standing and holding her baby. Behind him, Pluto cradles Brenda on the bed. At the sight of her sister, Brenda reaches out for her, her face still smeared with blood. Rocking Catherine, Lizard boasts that the baby is fat, big, fat, and juicy. Thinking quickly, Lynn snatches the pan from the counter and swings it, knocking Lizard across the face and sending him to the floor. And the blood that shoots out of his mouth, digital.
Really?
Huh.
That's what I'm saying, just like little bitty touches.
It works.
Yeah.
Lynn brings the pan back to hit him again, but Lizard grabs her arm and wrenches it, pulling Lynn down to the floor with him and screaming in her face. He takes out his gun and points it directly at Catherine, earning Lynn's immediate compliance when she begs him, "No, please." He looks her up and down and brings his hands against her trembling face. This is the cover.
Yes.
I will say that they talked about, Aja and Levasseur talked about feeling guilty and the moral implications of pointing a gun at this baby. They're like, what if this traumatizes her? What if this is something that she remembers later? So they were thinking about not doing it at all. And then they were like, a baby doesn't know what a gun is.
I was going to say,
Yeah.
I understand that could be like a corn dog. It could
Yeah,
be,
well,
yeah.
they said that
You
when
know?
they pointed it at her, the only issue that they had was she kept playing with the barrel. It's like, it's a toy to her. She doesn't know any different. She's 6 months old.
Right.
It's not a real gun.
I was going to say,
No.
Yeah,
But
but
they
they-
were like, we're afraid that she's going to be scared, but she saw it as a toy.
good.
Yeah. Outside, Bobby suddenly takes off. Doug calls out to him, asking where he's going, and Bobby declares that he's going to kill those motherfuckers. Doug warns him not to go and do something stupid. I'm like, what conversation?
I know.
Now, Bobby.
Yeah.
Ethel is still standing and staring, but now she hears Brenda's screams too. She picks up a big rock and starts in the direction of the trailer. Inside, Lizard pulls open Lynn's dress and forces down the strap of her nursing bra. When he lowers his face to her chest to drink, Brenda screams from the bed, but Lynn stays stoic, keeping her eyes focused on her daughter. So in my head, I am fantasizing about this fucking revenge arc with Lynn.
That is all I'm thinking about, because it's like, you cannot put these two women through this for what we get.
Mm-hmm.
Because this is, I'm waiting for what Brenda is going to do to Gary Busey.
Yes.
I'm waiting for Lynn being the absolute hero of this entire film.
Yeah.
Okay.
And I'm glad for them that they will get their revenge.
Yeah, I'm like, oh, these are our final girls. Like, I thought this was
Yes.
going to be something completely different, but we'll get to that.
I'll be honest. I didn't make it that far because I was not enjoying this.
No.
Well,
I
yeah.
couldn't think of any. I was just like, oh my God. I was like, what the fuck am I watching? Like, what's going on?
Well, I'm seeing it as like a catharsis.
No,
like, at
I
the
get
end,
it.
they're
It's
gonna,
gonna-
you know what I
Yeah.
mean? But
But honestly, in retrospect, it is. You're like, well, now we're kind of getting into that like edgelord bullshit.
Yeah, yeah.
Where
Yeah.
it's just kind of
Yeah.
gratuitous just
a
to
point.
do it.
Yeah.
But I think,
Yeah.
dude, you think of early Wes Craven, that was kind of a what do you call it? A theme, like a
Right,
recurring
right.
Like
situation.
exploitation.
Yeah.
Yeah, but it's like, I don't know. I expected something completely different than what we get. And I'm like, okay, Lynn is going to lead us out of this. That's what I'm thinking. Because
Yes.
she's like, look, my baby is in danger. I'm going to fucking do what I have to do. I'm going to hold it together. She came in swinging with the pan. Everybody else has their thumb up their ass. Not Brenda. Everybody else.
Yeah, yeah.
Doesn't know whether they're coming or going. They're running around like idiots. I'm like, okay, this bitch is going to get us out of this.
Yeah.
But you know, we'll see. The flames are finally extinguished outside, but too late to do Big Bob any good. His remains are still secured to the tree, and Doug has to pull his charred body down, where it lands with a thud in the dirt. I think John Paul said this off mic. I guess the show of respect is admirable, but I feel like getting Big Bob down from this tree is the last thing this is the
Yeah.
last priority right now.
If I'm done, just go.
Bobby
You
is
know?
taken off. Your wife is out of your sight. There's screaming coming from the trailer. There's so many priorities. There's so like triage, right?
Yeah,
There's
yeah,
so
yeah.
many things that we should be focused on right now. Your baby, question mark. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
Sobbing also in the trailer. But let's make sure Big Bob,
Yeah, we got to
we
stop
can't leave him up here. Like,
Yeah.
That's very true.
I'm already being cremated. Just go.
Yes.
Like,
Yeah.
it's fine.
Don't you dare worry about my dead body
Exactly.
over other people. Like, don't you dare.
Doug's like, we got to bury Big Bob. It's like, hey, dude, we can do that in the morning.
Yeah. No shit.
We had our differences.
Yes. But I knew deep down. It's like, get to the trailer, please.
Please.
Yes.
In the trailer, Lizard continues to drink from Lynn's breast when Ethel enters behind them. She stares for a moment, taking in everything in front of her before finally raising the huge rock above her head. Before she can bring it down on Lizard's, though, Lizard pulls his gun and fires, shooting Ethel right in the stomach and sending her flying across the trailer. She hits the cabinets and falls to the couch, limp.
Just the flying, it felt
It was...
Yeah.
it felt very mean-spirited. And with every fucking thing that's going on right now, it's like really this slapstick ass shit.
Again, it's back to the tree.
Yeah.
If this was a different movie, it would fit and it'd work.
Agreed.
It doesn't
Means-
belong here.
Mean-spirited is crazy.
Well, it is.
It is.
I saw on the making of, they had the stunt woman like a cable, a wire connected to her back, and then they threaded it through the wall of the trailer.
Oh.
And they like had it attached to somebody else who jumped down, and their body weight pulled her up against the thing.
Dude.
So somebody really took this fucking hit against the cabinets in the fall.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Jesus.
That's a lot, Robin.
Yeah.
But outside, Doug and Bobby's heads jerk up as they hear the sound of the gunshot. Brenda wails hysterically after witnessing her mother being shot. But freed from Lizard, Lynn holds her baby on the floor and reaches out for a dropped red screwdriver. Doug covers Bob's face with the blanket, and he and Bobby sprint back to the trailer.
Dude,
They heard the gunshot.
I swear to God, it was like, well, hold on, and they're both saluting him.
Yeah.
It's like, dude, will you please
Get up!
I swear to God.
I don't understand. I was watching the movie.
Yes.
And I think I did pause it, and I was like, "There's no way you guys are really still out here, like fucking building a cross."
Yes. Hammer and
Yeah,
nail.
yeah.
That's the only reason they go back to the trailer.
Yeah.
Like, I have some hammer and nails. and a shovel.
Yeah.
I feel like it really saved me because I'm trying to like really zero in on what's happening. Everything's going back and forth. It's happening so fast. But when you were like, why did he? It's like, no, why did he?
That's a great
Why
question.
did he prioritize that?
And that's a very fair point because the way that this is shot and cut, it is so frenzied.
Yes,
Right.
Everything
yes.
is happening
It is.
so fast, and so you really don't. But then when you really start to break it down, scene by scene, in the Podmortem way,
Yeah.
Yeah.
you start to see a little things, and maybe some things are like, priorities right now.
Because the way this goes, she's shot. We see them outside reacting to the gunshot. We go back inside. We come back outside, and he's draping the blanket over.
Maybe that should be switched.
Yeah.
And then
Yes, it
you
should.
hear it, they react and run right for
Yeah.
it. That makes a
But
lot more sense.
He drapes the blanket, and then they take off running.
Oh, then I got nothing.
So
dude.
yeah, I
Yeah.
didn't know it would. That's what they. It's really funny. Really funny.
Again, though, and then just to add on that, the relationship we had with him and Bob earlier.
Yes.
Now he's like, no, my wife and my daughter are fine. I hear shots and they're screaming. I gotta cover.
Bob needs my attention.
Yeah,
right now.
Bob is very clearly no longer with us.
He's
Yeah,
gone.
no,
he's
yeah,
gone.
he's done.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
he's
it's very odd.
Yeah.
Lizard levels his gun at Brenda on the bed, but Lynn takes this opportunity to stab him in the thigh with the screwdriver, which they said was an old school. He was like, it's the oldest trick in the book. It's just a retractable screwdriver.
Oh, that's great.
Yeah.
But this doesn't deter him for long, and Lizard aims the gun down at Lynn instead. With a pull of the trigger, blood splatters against the wall, imbruing a framed family photo and staining Catherine's innocent mobile.
This infuriated me
Yes!
for so many reasons, like we had just said about what our hope for her character arc was, but also that she is not that stupid.
Yes.
She literally just saw him shoot her mother.
Yes.
You are well aware that he is in possession of a firearm.
Yeah.
So why are you going to fucking stab him in the leg and just wriggle it around while he's very slowly aims
Pointing
at
the gun
your
at you.
head?
Yeah.
It makes
And
no sense.
The gun was aimed at your sister before. So
Yeah.
whatever you're doing, you need to do it quick.
Yeah.
So yeah, this was extremely disappointing. I gasped loudly. I couldn't believe that this is what it is.
I was shocked. Very, very shocked.
Yeah. But the score takes over and we can't hear Brenda's desperation when she opens her mouth and screams. Pluto and Lizard finally leave the trailer. Lizard pulls Brenda along by a handful of her hair. And when he sees Doug and Bobby sprinting toward them because they're still running, Brenda begs them to shoot him. But instead, Lizard points his gun at her face. She grips the barrel and looks up at him. But when Lizard pulls the trigger, the gun clicks empty. Lizard groans at this and looks at the approaching Doug and Bobby before looking back down at Brenda and promising in a growl, "I'll come back for ya." He leaves Brenda sobbing in the dirt as he and Pluto head for the hills.
It's just hitting me just now. It's like you got Jupiter, you got Pluto, and this guy's called Lizard.
Yeah.
It's like, that's a shame.
I think in the original, it was
Planetary?
Pluto, Mars, and I can't remember the other one, but they were all planetary.
That's cool.
Okay.
I like that a lot
Yeah.
better. Yeah. Once Bobby and Doug reach Brenda, Bobby fires at the departing duo, but when he misses, he goes back to his sister to ask if she's okay. They did say, too, that Aaron Stanford had specifically asked to not see any of the mutants until it was time to film.
Huh.
So that he could react to them. He was like, it's really funny because they were talking about, Aja was talking about KMB's work, and he was like, I love the way that it's done. It's very like sophisticated, the techniques used. He goes, because if we were going to do something like the Toxic Avenger, it wouldn't work. So then Aaron Stanford was like, I didn't want to see anybody until it was time to shoot. He goes, and then you're reacting to this amazing work that's done, and the fear can just come through you, and it comes through your performance. He goes, suddenly you're standing in front of this Toxic Avenger style monster. And I'm like, all right, dude.
I think JP likes one of those.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
saw his face when I said the first thing.
Yeah, he was offended.
I was very.
What's wrong with the makeup in that?
Yeah, I would prefer that because it would make it more, oh shit, we've never dealt with this. I've never, you know what I mean, been in this situation. Again, we can do so much with the strength, with the whatever, with anything. The shaky cam, the her blowing, all that would fit right in with that. Why wouldn't they be like that?
Yeah, again, that's a huge misstep for me because I had to keep reminding myself that they're like this as a result of the nuclear fallout.
Right.
Because to me, like, and I don't know if I'm informed by the original, but I don't see a difference visually in me being told that these are mutants or me being told that these are generations that have been inbred in these hills, because that's what it looks like to me.
Honestly, there's really nothing outside of this so far that takes you very far away from a wrong turn.
Exactly.
So I think that there could be, and honestly, there are a lot of things that have happened that maybe lend themselves to, like, how the hell did this scrawny little dude block that hurling of a frying pan like with nothing? It was very super strength.
Yeah.
It was, I think things like that, and them skulking and sneaking around and everything.
But it would work better if they, to me anyway, if they were altered in a different kind of way.
Right.
Yeah. I mean, we go down into the sewers on Futurama.
Yeah.
We do.
Those are mutants. They don't look like this.
Yeah. One guy's just a leg with the face on it.
Yeah.
Another guy's got an arm growing out of his head.
They seemed very nice.
Yeah, they were very sweet.
Yeah.
They would never do this shit.
Leela's parents are cool.
They're really
Yeah,
nice.
they were.
Yeah.
I feel like that's another thing. Like, goddamn, dude, how I don't know how to put this because I just feel like every single thing that has to do with anything that isn't this perceived normal is immediately villainized.
Oh, absolutely.
And so I will say I do appreciate Ruby's inclusion in this film because it's to show it's like they're like this because of shit that they're deciding to do.
Yeah.
It's that because, like, if you kind of break this down, like, and this is from them being affected, chased out of their homes leveled, kind of reduced to living in these mines. They are victims.
Yes.
They're victims.
Yeah.
And so it's like, I would love to be able to have more compassion, but then you have them, they're murderers and rapists and, like, seeming to torture people just because they like to do that. So it's like, okay, now I don't really give a fuck what happened to you. Why you're like this. You know what I mean?
True.
I would love maybe almost like a Frankenstein's monster situation when they have been deformed because of this nuclear, because of their land being used and ruined and them being chased from their homes. And now because of the way that they are perceived, they're hunted and they're perceived as bad, but they're not. That's a more interesting story than, no, they're ugly, but no, they're killing people. It's like, okay.
Yeah. And I think it's
they're
the same
stealing
thing.
babies. Okay.
Where they're like, Wes Craven saying, do your own thing with it, take it where you want to. Let's take it there.
I would love that.
Let's not do something so stereotypical.
Yeah, I feel like this is 2 weeks in a row now where we're like, yeah, this was fine, but let's write a better movie.
Honestly, yeah.
Let's take the skeleton and put something else on it. But, like, and I'm not trying to be like, I don't know. I just feel there is so much more that could have been done. And like you said, with Wes Craven being like, do whatever the fuck you want.
Yeah.
We really could have taken this somewhere interesting. I think that there's already so much commentary on, like, the American dream and the nuclear family or whatever. Like, there is so much commentary on that, but it's so, like, muted. I don't know.
Yeah.
It's a bummer.
Yeah.
I really, what it makes me think of you saying that, the reason, and the Fallout 4 is super old, so I'm sorry for spoiling anything, but there's a mutant in the glowing sea that you can help. And again, you want to help him because he's telling you, look, I am changed this way because of radiation or whatever. And if they were mutants, and again, like you're saying, they are victims. If it is one of those, y'all did this to me, so now we're whatever. Oh, okay. You know what I mean? But them just being shitty people.
Yeah.
And one of them being super cool and being like, hey, like, I don't want to do that.
Yeah.
It's like, oh, then you know better.
Exactly. You're
You
choosing.
do,
Yeah.
yes. You're not mindless. Like, one of you has morality.
Yeah.
Yes.
So I don't know. I don't know, dude. I'm sure that this is not a film that we should be thinking this deeply about.
No, not at all.
I feel like you are wrestling with some very heavy themes, and it's like, okay, we're gonna think a little bit deeper because you guys put this in here.
And because there is the potential.
Yes.
Yeah, that's true.
In the trailer, Ethel clings to life, twitching and shuddering on the couch with a big bloody stain over the middle of her nightgown. I was astonished that she was alive.
Me too.
Yeah.
Doug looks at her for a moment, but his expression warps when he finds his wife, motionless in a pool of her own blood on the floor of the trailer. Doug drops to the floor, weeping. He reaches out a trembling hand to her, but he's startled when his seemingly departed wife suddenly takes in a ragged breath of air. Doug cradles her, promising that she's going to be okay, as Lynn makes choked sounds deep in her throat. After this final surge of life, she goes still and slips into death. Lynn stares endlessly from the floor, and Doug holds her and cries. But suddenly, realization hits him, and he reaches out towards Catherine's little bed with the bloody hand, only to find that it's empty. Shock freezing his features, Doug scoots back against the cabinets on the floor and sobs.
And I understand what we're doing now, and it's like, okay, so this film is Doug's character arc.
Yeah.
Yes.
But to me, is a much less interesting way to go.
Mm-hmm.
I don't really care about his redemption. I do hope he finds this baby.
Yeah.
And that he can be successful in what he's trying to do, but I just don't care enough about Doug to, maintain.
No. And it is, kind of tired and like cliche to have women here only to be kind of brutalized and victimized, and then they can get in the back seat and the men can handle this. It's like, okay. Or they can die. Either way, it's like, all right, cool.
And that is, this really wild sequence, which again, you're talking about technical sides of it. Our feelings about the narrative stuff aside, it was done well.
Yeah.
But it is kind of wild when you're thinking about it. It is a span of maybe like 5-10 minutes, and it's like 3 of our characters are dead.
Yes.
That's wild.
Yeah.
It is.
It's back to back.
Yeah.
But high on a cliff, Goggles sits perched, watching the trailer through his binoculars. But when he hears something behind him, he turns, paranoid. Nothing is there, and as he slowly turns back toward the binoculars, Beast jumps out of nowhere and takes a bite out of Crime. And by Crime, I mean Goggles' neck. The dog growls as he chews, ripping flesh loose and sending a river of blood coursing down Goggles' throat as he stares, shocked.
Now, Beast is in the right,
Yeah.
but I don't know
that's a really
how
aggressive
he knows that. Because Goggle hasn't done anything.
Yeah,
dude.
but he's watching.
You smell like the other one.
That's a bit. I think we need to get some training or something. They're running out of the fucking thing all the time. They're chewing people's throats out.
Good
love
dog,
Beast. Yeah.
but also bad dog.
JP sees no problem.
No, he's fine.
Give him a present. Beast barks echo through the hills, but back in the trailer, Brenda sits on the bed, rocking and sobbing. Bobby is pacing, demanding that Doug answer what they're going to do if they come back. Doug is sitting on the couch, his shirt streaked with blood. He reaches out for Ethel, who lies on the couch next to him. At his touch, Ethel begins to speak, dazed and delirious. This trailer is so small. She cleans and she cleans, but it's still a mess. Doug shushes her gently, her face pale and slack. Ethel wonders if Big Bob is home. Doug says that he isn't yet. Tears standing in her eyes, Ethel asks if everyone went to bed, and Doug says that they did. Brenda is right here and Bobby is in the back. Ethel smiles and asks if Lenny is sleeping. Doug nods sadly, not trusting himself to speak. When he asks if Ethel needs anything, she nods. Shivering, she decides that she needs a blanket. It's cold. And Doug pulls one over Ethel. Similarly, Bobby drapes one over his dead sister on the floor. Doug rubs Ethel's arm in an attempt to warm her up, and Ethel declares that he is so sweet. She understands why Lenny loves him so much. With these words of kindness, her very last, Ethel lets out a breath and goes still.
This scene was actually very emotionally effective.
Yes.
Okay.
Her performance, it is heartbreaking.
It's so good. And his
trying
you
to
don't need to tell her. Yeah.
I did appreciate him, you know what I mean, going to comfort her, and they're sleeping. You know what I mean? It's like, damn, dude, I get it.
And with the tears in her eyes, it's like, is she that out of it or does she know? And she's just trying to be comforted.
Right.
Like this was shockingly sad and effective for what we've just come off off
Yeah.
of.
Mm-hmm.
Brenda weeps, and when Bobby realizes what's happened, he decides that he's not going to take this shit. He cocks his gun on his way to the door, but Doug jumps up and grabs Bobby to restrain him. He yells, asking if Bobby wants to die too, but Bobby asserts tearfully that he doesn't fucking care. Doug asks him again if he wants to die. He tells Bobby to look at what they did to his mother and his sister. He needs to stop and think because he's not a fucking child anymore. He says that Bobby wouldn't make it 3 feet out there. They need a plan and they need to think. Bobby breaks down in tears, and when Doug lets him go, Bobby pushes him. Anger taking over again, he asks what they're supposed to think about. They have Catherine. They have Doug's daughter, and he's going to sit here and do nothing? Bobby decides that it's because Doug is a fucking pussy, just like his dad said. It's like, Big Bob said that?
Yeah, but I paid him so much respect after he passed away.
I honored
him.
Yeah, honestly. That's wild.
It's like, Doug, please.
Yeah.
But Doug grabs him and shoves him against the wall again, pinning him there. He tells him to shut the fuck up, but Bobby fires back with a clenched jaw. Fuck you. The tense moment is broken, though, when a voice crackles through a walkie-talkie. Goggle? Goggle?
It is wild that they're so organized.
Yeah. What?
He's like, Goggle, check in.
Yeah. Doug lets go of Bobby and shuts off the lights, eliciting a fresh wave of crying from Brenda, who begs them to turn it back on. She sobs that he said he was going to come back for her. Doug shushes her, but when light shines through the window next to the bed, Brenda panics, repeating again and again that it's them. Bobby points the gun toward the door, and they hear a voice come through the walkie again. Goggle? Goggle? Bobby fires through the closed door and everything goes silent. With the campfire still crackling outside the trailer, light shines through the door's new holes and beams. Doug leans down, aligning one of these beams with the lens of his glasses as he peeks through.
Was anybody else thinking, this is my own private domicile?
Yes, and I will not be harassed. Yes. When he doesn't see anything, he slowly pushes the trailer door open and steps out into the dirt. The voice comes through the walkie again. Goggle?
Goggle's
They're gonna
not
get
here.
I know.
Goggle's not here, man.
Snake.
Do you copy, Goggle? Where's Goggle? Another voice replies that he stayed back to keep an eye on them. But the first asserts, I told you. The second goes, what? But like, why are y'all holding the button this whole time?
I know.
Are you still holding?
Oh, shit.
It's just...
The first explains that he told him, you gotta kill them all. Doug takes the walkie-talkie, still in the grip of a disembodied arm. When he snatches it, it goes silent. He looks up at Bobby, who stands in the doorway of the trailer, but he spots some movement beneath it. With a nod from Doug, Bobby fires the gun through the floor, but it's Beast that comes running out, thankfully unharmed. He runs right to Doug, who embraces him, celebrating that he's still alive. Bobby bursts into tears as he joins Doug, and he throws his arms around Beast. So now we've left Brenda inside alone. But anyway, the walkie crackles to life again with the cold voice announcing, Jupiter's going to finish them off. But this time, Doug answers, demanding to know why they're doing this to them. He tells them to give him back his baby before asking what the fuck do they want with them. He pleads for them to give him back his baby. In response, Catherine's thin cry comes in through the walkie. Doug's trembled hand drops it. He asks Bobby how many bullets he has left. Bobby stands, reporting that he's got a clip and a half. He asks what they're doing, but Doug does not answer.
How fucking sadistic
Yeah.
to put the,
The baby? Yeah.
on the walkie.
That's the scariest thing they could have done.
Honestly.
That is terrifying. The next morning, Doug follows Beast up into the hills. They pass a streak of sticky blood crawling with ants. Aja did say that that was the last thing they filmed.
Really?
Was that patch of blood. I was like, oh, okay. When they go by, a vulture screeches and takes flight. But finally, Beast has been a very good boy indeed and leads Doug right to the entrance of the mine. It's like, dude, Beast, everybody else take a seat.
Yeah.
This is crazy.
It's honestly sad when you think about it because he's trying to avenge his friend too.
Yeah. Hell yeah.
After a quick prayer that Beast isn't afraid of the dark, Doug enters the mine with him. He follows the beam of his flashlight, illuminating a trail of blood on the narrow path. When he steps out of the corridor and into the wide space of the mine, something races by, and when Doug shines his light in that direction, there's nothing there.
Whenever they walk in, he goes, I hope you're not afraid of the dark.
Yeah.
It's like, dude, shut up. He's like, I hear
Why
him talking
would
to
you-
his dog. Get him.
Why would you fucking say anything?
Don't
Now they know
know.
we're here.
Yes.
He finds a makeshift graveyard with pictures of the mine workers adorning pickaxes erected like gravestones. He only lingers on this for a moment before he and Beast press forward and find an opening to step back into the sun.
And look, this is, of course, it's a sad thing when you think about it.
Yeah.
But at the same time, we have seen what these people are capable of. And to me, personally, I'm watching, I'm like, you know what? I'm going to say it. I don't care that your family died.
Yeah.
I don't.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, they're like monstrous behavior.
Yeah.
And it's like, but again, this is also just glossed over. Like we're done with this after this. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
They did say that they really filmed it. This is a real mine that they filmed it in. Like this wide open space, not just the shaft.
Jeez.
Like they went, I would be afraid to go in there.
Yeah.
Yeah,
But-
for sure.
Yeah.
Yeah, he was like, well, obviously we had to put up the graveyard. It's like, well, really? No, I thought the graveyard was already in there.
There's a lot of common sense things that are being
Yeah.
told.
Yes, yes.
My research is sparse because they're like, well, we tried to film it with a camera.
It's like,
It's like, well, yeah, dude.
fascinating. Ruby peeks at them from behind a large rock, but when Doug steps closer, she hides. From where he stands on this new cliff, Doug can see a small cluster of homes in the distance. And this is completely digital, this town.
That's unbelievable.
Really?
Yeah, when we're looking at it from the distance, I was like, that is very impressive.
Okay.
He radios Bobby, reporting that he followed a trail of blood that led to a town or something, but no one answers his call inside the trailer. Outside, though, Brenda is rolling a tire to the side of the road. She douses it in lighter fluid and sets it ablaze. Both the fire and the black smoke it coaxes climb high into the sky. Nearby, Bobby strings a tripwire around squat posts. I guess it's the wire from the fishing pole, but
Oh.
why don't you have the walkie on you?
Yeah.
That's fair.
Doug's like, goggle? Brenda walks over to him and proposes that maybe someone heard their calls. But Bobby yells that no one heard their fucking calls. No one is going to see the goddamn smoke either in this goddamn desert. He tries to hammer another post into the ground, but when he hits his hand instead, he screams. Brenda starts to weep, her face still injured and smeared with blood. Bobby abandons his anger and wraps his arms around his sister in a comforting hug. She admits that she is so scared. Who are these people? Bobby just holds her as she cries. Doug, though, has made his way to that strange little town with Beast at his side. We watch through dingy windows as they walk, the wind kicking up sand and dust around them. Doug finds a cluster of mannequins that someone has set up in a gathering. Their forever smiling faces are blackened and dirty, but Doug moves on. He enters one of the houses where a mannequin family sits together in the living room with the little mannequin children lying on the floor in front of the TV.
I love this so much.
Yes.
It is so cool.
I think it being in the daylight helps to give it the creepiness because it's during the day. Everybody's abandoned. We see all these fucking crazy dolls or mannequins everywhere. The houses are set up. It's like, okay, again, we know what this place is for, but it looks fucking crazy.
Yeah. Robert Joy, who plays Lizard, had said that the mannequins are a version of the ideal American family. The Carters are a flawed, realistic version of the family. And the mutants are basically a devolved and depraved version. And I was like, okay, he ate with that one. That
Yeah.
was good.
Okay.
Yeah.
But I was very interested to learn all the mannequins dispersed through these houses and through the streets. They only had 16 of them.
Really?
They just dressed and distressed them differently for different scenes.
That's cool.
I thought that was so
Yeah.
impressive. And again, with the visual effects, watching Doug walk through this town, they built one street. Everything else is digital.
Huh.
And it looks like a little town. Like I would never, ever guess that.
Fooled me.
Yeah. But we cut to the sign outside shaking in the wind. Test Village 3B, military area, risk of radiation, United States Department of Energy. Doug goes back outside with the oppressive sun beating down on him. The wind rattles the metal chains of a swing set, swaying the plastic children that sit in its seats. But when Doug rounds the corner of one of the houses, he finds a running generator. This prompts him to clear the dusty window of the house next to it with the sleeve of his shirt. And inside, he finds Catherine lying on her back in a bed. She whines and rolls over. She's literally just sitting beneath the window.
I was so surprised.
Yeah, I'm like, dude, you got lucky.
But it also feels like a trap.
Yeah, a little bit.
Doug immediately starts toward the front of the house, but he jerks back when someone comes around the corner. Mercifully, Doug isn't spotted, but he sinks to his knees when he sees that the hulking man, whose body is held upright and stiff by braces, Cyst, played by Greg Nicotero, is dragging the body of a woman behind him. The rope he pulls is tied around her ankles. I see none of Greg Nicotero in this makeup.
No.
Like, he is completely hidden in it. It looks good, though.
Oh, yeah.
It was very surprising to see that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think in the screenplay, because I skimmed a lot of it, it said that he's called Cyst because he was covered in cysts. Like his whole body was covered. And we don't get that, but he has like a neck brace or something.
Yeah, he's the aluminum monster.
The aluminum monster. Even Beast whimpers at this, letting out a sound before Doug can clamp his mouth shut. And Cyst turns immediately. Doug and Beast are no longer on the side of the house. Still, Cyst bares his small, sharp teeth and goes back in the direction of the house with his shotgun in his hands. We watch from the other side of the vehicle as Cyst quickly gives up the search and returns to dragging the woman further down the road. We pan down to find that this is where Doug and Beast are hiding. This reminds me of like when you alert like a bad guy in a video game and they go to investigate and they're like, oh, whatever. And then they like kind of walk off grumbling. It's like, how did y'all get away with this?
Yeah.
So who are they dragging?
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's frightful.
Very.
Because it's like, how many cars? You know, because that was not a super decomposed body.
Yeah,
No.
not at all.
Doug lets Beast inside the car and closes the door, commanding him in a whisper to stay. He follows the sound of Catherine's cries back to the house as Beast paces in the back seat of the abandoned car. Why he left Beast, I don't know.
Yeah.
Well, because Beast almost got him caught a second ago.
Yeah, but in my mind,
So he's like, I can't have you fucking my shit up.
if I leave Beast alone in this car, he's going to be barking and someone's going to come kill him and know that I'm here. That's what I would think.
I get that. But Beast seems to take care of himself.
Yeah, he knows what's up.
Yeah, so.
It's like dog meat.
Yeah, that's right.
Doug pushes the front door open and closes it behind him as silently as he can. Catherine's cries are coming from further within the house, and Doug follows them, raising his baseball bat, ready to swing. A conversation is heard from another room, and Doug freezes when he catches sight of someone sitting in a chair as he walks further down the hall. But it's Big Mama, played by Ivana Turchetto, sitting quietly and brushing her doll's hair. And we see that the conversation we've heard is coming through the black and white TV in front of her. It's divorce court,
Yeah.
which hours and hours spent watching this with my mom. I was very excited.
Is it surprising they get cable out here?
I didn't even think about that.
Or maybe one of the pedestrian or motorists had like just tapes of
VHSs.
Yeah.
divorce court. I don't know.
But when we cut back to Doug, he's made it down the hall and into the bedroom, and he's picking up Catherine from the bed. He's in full sight of Big Mama when he sneaks down the hall, but she seems too consumed with her doll and her show to notice him. Doug creeps forward slowly, alternating between looking worriedly over his shoulder and gazing down appreciatively at his daughter. But just as he gets close to the front door, Big Mama comes running toward him from the opposite side. She swings, and everything goes black as Catherine wails. In bright, horrible flashes, we see disjointed images, blood-splattered mannequins, the silhouettes of hanging carcasses, the shadow of someone with an unnaturally bulbous head slumped backward. But back at the trailer, they've used the fishing rod to dangle one of the baby's toys high above the vehicle, hoping to garner attention. Bobby is still hammering posts in for his tripwire, which zigzags nearly invisible around the perimeter of the trailer. We slowly press in on the smiling toy hanging above.
I gotta be honest, I thought Bobby was completely useless.
Yeah.
But this is ingenious.
It's so smart.
Yeah, I thought he was making like I'll be honest, like he had grenades or something. And I was like, God damn. Then I seen the little thing that to make the noise, and I was like, all right.
That's fair.
Yeah.
It's like, how prepared were you guys?
Yeah.
Brenda and Bobby carry Lynn's body from the trailer to the Suburban. They're sobbing together when Brenda warns Bobby to watch her head. They set her down gently inside next to their mother and take a moment to mourn them outside of the window when they close the door. But Doug wakes up in a confined space on top of a dead body. The walls around him are caked with dried blood, and when he finally opens his eyes and tries to orient himself, we see that there's blood streaked down his face from the knock to his head. After coming back online, Doug immediately tries to stand, but his head hits a low ceiling. He wipes away condensation to try to peer out, and we see from the outside that Doug is locked inside of a freezer that has his bat and flashlight resting on the lid. Doug lights a match, and when he sees disembodied limbs and a bloody torso in the freezer with him, he begins to panic. He screams and bangs against the lid, but with it locked, all Doug manages to do at first is rattle it. But he persists, and the lid finally pops off. Doug pulls himself out of the freezer and starts to retch and gag. But outside, Beast has found a hole in the bottom of the car and barks as he squeezes his way out.
Told you he could take care of himself.
Yeah. He knew Doug was in trouble.
Yeah,
He's like,
this
"Go
dude's
save
not-
his ass
yeah."
again.
Free now, Doug walks through the house with his bat at the ready. He enters the dining room where a smiling mannequin family sits gathered for dinner. But at the head of the table, a limp corpse is flopped into the seat with the pole stabbed through the center of its head. At the top of the pole, an American flag hangs proudly, and as Doug gets closer, he sees that this burned and crispy corpse was once his father-in-law, Big Bob.
This is a terrible sight to see.
Yeah.
But I gotta be honest, man, they are really carting this dude's body around
Yeah.
everywhere.
We covered this.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
they came back.
Mhm. Uncovered.
Uncovered.
Which is wild because that means that in the night they did come back.
Yeah.
To take him.
Oh, yeah.
Which honestly kind of pisses me off. I kind of understand what Bobby was saying now whenever he was like, dude, they have your daughter out there, and they're like, well, let's sleep
Yeah.
the night.
Yeah.
We
I
got a
honestly
plan.
can't believe they did that. I
Yeah.
can't believe he waited until the morning.
When someone further in the house starts to croak a pained and raspy rendition of the Star-Spangled Banner, Doug pulls his attention away from Bob and follows the sound. The labored singing continues with a ragged breath between each line as Doug makes his way through the rooms and the mannequins. Finally, we find the owner of the voice, slumped back in a wheelchair in the living room in front of a collection of TVs with his bulbous head is Big Brain, played by Desmond Askew.
Desmond Askew. He had a lot of voiceover work for video games.
Oh.
But he was in Go in 99, and he did voice work on BioShock 2 in 2010 and Dragon Age Origins in 09.
Hell yeah.
He's got a lot of voiceover work.
Very cool.
Hearing him in this, I can see it. Like,
Yeah.
there's a lot of character in his voice. When Doug enters the room, he has the bat ready. Big Brain stops singing and the breath wheezes in and out of him. When Doug demands to know where his daughter is, Big Brain is unable to raise his head to look at him with the protrusions in the back of his skull and around his neck. He admits that he doesn't know where she is. He never leaves this place. He struggles to breathe, and we get a better look at the back of his head drooping behind the chair, the sparse hair matted with sweat. Big Brain shares that Doug's people asked their families to leave their town, and then they destroyed their homes. As Doug walks through the other rooms, Big Brain continues. We went into the mines. You set off your bombs and turned everything to ashes. You made us what we've become. Doug returns to Big Brain as he chants, boom, boom, boom. This is a little heavy-handed.
Yeah.
I I feel like as an audience, we're supposed to come to that conclusion that these people represent kind of the American dream that was stolen from them, or the false, sale that they were given. Their lives were ruined. Like, I don't like being told it's you and people like you. I don't like that.
It is very heavy-handed. It is very on the nose. It does. I understand having this kind of a face-off moment between their side and Doug's side, I guess.
Yeah.
But I don't know. There is just something that does not work very well for me at all.
Right.
And it is, I don't know, just the singing of the national anthem. It's like, we get it. Like, I've got it, I promise.
It would be really cool just to see the flag.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
Or,
Yeah.
you know what I mean? Like, I don't know. It's just...
There is a lot of stuff that's going on, and we are back and forth, and we're back with Doug again, and he did escape, and then we're like, oh shit. But yeah, we didn't need that. Like, we really didn't need it.
No, and I guess this is entirely, like you're saying, an element that is only in this remake.
Right.
So I don't know. It is a very interesting way to go, but I think that you have these villains who are doing these unspeakable things.
Yeah.
I don't see... I don't know. I just don't know, because I want this idea of them being more like relatable, and you can kind of humanize them and make it to where, you know what, we are kind of fucked up too.
Yeah.
And I think you can get there in a way that is better than this. It's just,
It's odd.
Yeah.
And especially for what they're doing. If they're just killing people, I feel like that's fine. But they're not just killing people.
No.
Yeah, no.
No, they're not. Doug just raises his bat, ready to strike, and he asks again, "Where's my baby?" Big Brain just lets loose an unhinged laugh. When Doug asks what's so funny, Big Brain announces, "It's breakfast time." This is when Pluto bursts through the window,
Yeah.
swinging a pickaxe.
I like to think of a scene that we don't see where he's like, and then I'll say,
Yeah.
it's breakfast time.
That's your
and
cue.
that's when you Kool-Aid man through
Doug falls to the ground as Pluto swings wildly and Big Brain watches, amused. But Doug is able to scramble away. He's crawling up the stairs when Pluto finally catches him and grabs a hold of his ankle. He yanks him back, and Doug's attempt to grab onto the post is futile. It's Beast that saves the day. He jumps in out of nowhere and bites Pluto's arm. I guess he jumped through the hole in the wall. But this gives Doug enough time to sprint away and hide in the bathroom. When Pluto can't shake Beast loose, he starts to punch the dog in the head.
I was so speechless and mad. Like, I paused the movie and I almost went and punched the pause image of Doug. You laughed like
Yes.
I was so furious. Like, Beast saved you.
He did. I think it's made even worse.
You're on your own.
Yeah.
He blocks the door.
Oh, bro.
Just in case
Oh,
Beast can use
man.
the doorknob. He's
Yeah,
also screwed.
Yeah.
It's like, dude.
I'll let you do that.
Yeah.
I'm going to go over here.
Unbelievable. Man's best friend, but what friend is man?
Yeah. What? He helped him get here. Let
No,
him
he
here.
did. He'd be dead.
Yeah.
He'd be dead. But Doug is using all of his strength to push the bathtub in front of the door. When Pluto is finally able to throw a whimpering Beast off of him, everything goes quiet. Doug stands ready with the bat raised. He takes small steps toward the door, waiting for Pluto to come through and trip over the tub. But instead, this is what I wrote, Pluto Kool-Aid Mans through the wall next
Yes.
to Doug
Yeah.
and grabs him immediately by the throat. This did make me laugh.
It was very funny. I know we just seen him do it. We spent too much time on that side shot of Doug. I was like, he's going to come
We
through.
know.
I was like, come on.
You already knew.
He laughs joyfully as he raises Doug up high. He suddenly flings him to the floor, but when he swings the pickaxe, Doug has too fast it out of the way. He makes it into another room in the house, maneuvering out of the way of Pluto's swings by weaving in and out of the hanging plastic sheets. When he tries to grab the bat off the floor, Pluto swings the pickaxe and breaks it, but Doug still snatches up the remains and stabs the newly sharp end through Pluto's gut and twists. Pluto stops and stares at Doug in surprise, yellow oozing from his nearly swollen shut eye. But with a groan, Pluto just pulls the bat from his gut and hits Doug in the head. I was like, okay. All right. Doug immediately hits the ground, and when he gets back up, everything is out of focus. Pluto still charges him and tackles him through the wall behind them. In the next room, Pluto picks up Doug by the ankle and just throws him through glass.
Dude, again, I had talked about super strength earlier with Lizard.
Yes.
But
Yeah.
he has lifted him off of his feet by his throat with one hand.
Yeah, yeah.
He literally flings him like a doll.
By his ankle, yeah.
Yeah.
And you thought that stabbing him in the belly was going to
Yeah, he's
put
like,
a stop to this?
thank God. They said that this whole fight sequence took 4 or 5 days to film.
Oh, wow.
Damn.
It's a lot. It's a
it is.
lot. But Pluto follows, and when Doug tries to crawl away, he brings the axe down and cuts off Doug's pinky and ring fingers. Doug screams in pain and scrambles beneath the dining room table. I watched how they did this. They had fake fingers already on the floor, and the real fingers kind of behind the blade, covered, like wrapped in green so that they could digitally remove it. It looks really good.
It
Yeah.
does.
Pluto rages, attacking the table, attacking the mannequin family sitting at it. He finally breaks the table and flips it over. Big Brain wheels closer and watches with a smile, but giving it everything he's got left, Doug pulls himself to his knees and thrusts the screwdriver out at Pluto. His glasses are gone. He's covered in blood and he can barely keep his eyes open, but he makes one last stand. Pluto looks down at him and laughs. He brings the blade of the axe to Doug's neck and he slides it against his skin and hair. Doug begins to cry. He begs, "Please don't kill me." Big Brain repeats this, mocking him for his and Pluto's amusement. And this indignity fuels Doug just enough to tighten his grip on the screwdriver and stab it through Pluto's foot. Pluto throws his head back and wails, and Doug is able to run away. He rips the American flag from Big Bob's head and rushes back to Pluto. When the crying giant is bent over and focused on his injured foot, Doug stabs the flagpole through the back of his neck. It comes jutting out the front with a stream of blood, and Pluto falls to his knees as he chokes. Doug snatches up the axe and buries the blade in the top of Pluto's head. Big Brain watches, trembling in his chair as Pluto slumps over, dead. Doug takes the axe and slides on his cracked glasses.
Pretty brutal.
Yeah.
Looks great.
Yeah.
It does. I watched, and they didn't even talk about it. I just saw it from watching the, can't remember if it was behind the scenes or they have like these little clips called production diaries where it was just them filming while they were doing stuff. And this is like an animatronic, a torso up animatronic that they have moving and reacting like in pain. And then it's literally, they stab it literally through the back of the neck and it comes out the front. And it's so seamless between this animatronic and the actor. It is fantastic.
Yeah.
You would never guess.
It looks really good. I do want to say, so when I watched this, I thought he was playing Doug. I thought that he was faking what was going on so that the dude would, or mutant or whatever, that he would like laugh at him and look away. So he'd be like pathetic or whatever. And then Doug's like, "Oh, you're not paying attention. I'm going to get you."
You scream, "I'm a hemophilia."
That's all I was thinking. And he'll turn away
Yeah, well,
in disgust.
And it's time to kick some back.
because he is, you know what I mean? Because he is like, "Don't kill me," whatever. And then to me, it looked like he peaked. And when he seen dude not paying attention, that's when he got him.
I interpreted it as he this is really like, he's like, "This is all I got." And when they're making fun of him, he's like, "No, fuck this." Like it fuels him.
Okay.
But I don't
Okay.
know.
I think that could work too. It is just, I mean, it is kind of funny for him to be like, "No, I think I
Dude,
think
you're
I know.
putting
Yeah.
I know Pluto by now. He'll laugh. He'll share a laugh."
Well, because he told Bobby earlier about a plan.
Yes.
You have to have a plan.
Oh, come on, dude, but you're putting too much stock.
Well, it
in
works.
Doug.
This is the only person we have left.
And
Honestly.
Besides
and
Beast, and I don't know where
Doug
he's
is
at
a
now.
dumbass.
Yes,
Yeah.
yes.
And it worked at the end of the day.
It did, whichever
It
one
did.
it was. I will say, though, it is funny to me that Pluto literally got stabbed through the gut with a broken bat, but him getting stabbed in the foot with the screwdriver, it took him the fuck out. He was so distracted by it. That's how he got killed.
Feet hurt.
Yeah, they do.
Yeah, they do. They do. But outside, Sist is shambling along toward the house, but Doug pops out from behind a car and bashes him in the leg with the axe. When Sist falls forward onto the hood of the car, Doug axes his back a question. Sist's cries are strangled, and when Doug pulls the axe out, Sist falls to the dirt. Doug flips the axe over to the pointy end, and he swings it down, catching Sist in his eye and killing him.
I think he's starting to enjoy it now.
Yeah.
It was a little action hero.
Yeah.
It was.
The flip.
Mm-hmm.
Well, we are running out of time as well,
Yeah.
so he's
That's
got to
true.
hurry.
It's like take out whichever one's outside. Big Brain, who has been left alive for some reason,
Yeah, what?
watches this from the living room window. He radios, Lizard, kill the baby. What? So was the baby just bait to get them here? I'm very confused. Were we going to eat the baby?
Yeah,
What were we doing
I
with the
don't
baby?
know.
Well, Lizard said the baby was plump and juicy. And so
Yeah.
I thought this is a cannibal thing.
Right,
Yes.
right.
But then now it does seem like it was bait to maybe lure them to kill all of them. Maybe they didn't expect them to stay at the caravan. I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know why he left them alive.
I don't know either.
Imagine them through the night being like, they still haven't come for their baby.
That's crazy.
What kind of fucking father are you? But Beast is still alive and well. He fixes his attention on Big Brain, and we listen from outside as he growls and barks and makes short work of Big Brain.
So Beast has been radicalized.
Yeah.
It's pretty wild. I don't think that we're going to be able to go back home after this.
I am glad, though, that Beast is cleaning up again after Doug. He's like, dude, what are you doing?
Honestly.
Come on.
Beast is a hill dog now.
Well, things are rough, but he's got to do it.
But it's just like, why would Doug not?
I don't know.
I just don't
Yeah, I just don't
understand.
get it. I don't understand.
Elsewhere, Ruby is watching over Catherine with a sweet smile. Doug enters the house with Sist's gun pointed forward as he investigates the rooms. Lizard takes a cleaver from another kitchen, pleased and eager to follow through with his assignment. He mutters to himself, "Baby." Limping, he heads down a hallway, pushing past hanging slabs of meat with their protruding bones, and goes into a bedroom.
At this point, I'm starting to wonder who their leader is in this film.
So I thought it was Papa Jupiter, but Big Brain does seem to be calling some shots.
Yeah.
And he got the
Yeah.
monologue.
He did.
So I don't know, man. I
'Cause
don't know.
Jupiter seemed like the one, especially the fact that he took out
Bob.
Big Bob.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But then he kind of just goes, it's like the sidelines. I haven't even thought about this dude.
He's
Me
busy.
either. Yeah.
We'll catch up with him later.
Mm-hmm.
As Doug makes his way down another narrow hall, Lizard finds Ruby presiding over the baby. Now, there are several mannequins set up in this room, and all of them appear to be getting freaky for whatever that's worth.
Yeah.
All of them are.
You got to find your fun somewhere.
I guess. But Lizard tells Ruby to get out of the way. Ruby just stares at Lizard, and when Lizard tries to push her, she stands her ground. It's not until he brandishes the cleaver at her and repeats for her to get out of the way that she finally flees the room. But Doug has found a bedroom with a crib. Eager, he rips the blankets out of the way to reveal a baby doll instead of Catherine. He's startled when a little girl credited as Small Deformed Child, played by Judith Jane Villette, calls out to him sweetly, "Mister, will you play with us?" This little girl is the first assistant director's daughter.
Oh, really?
And they did the same thing here that they did with Ruby in terms of manipulating her features digitally instead of doing like practical makeup. She watches him from misshapen eyes beneath her bright blonde hair, but we pan back to find another small deformed child played by Adam Perel sitting on a rug with her amongst a scattering of toys. The small children gaze at Doug innocently, but we cut to Doug fleeing the house and running outside. And I laughed out loud because I thought more was going to happen.
Yeah, I know.
He's like, I don't have time to play.
Because the implications of the whole thing is it's like this is continuing. It's still going on.
Yes.
There's the next generation right there.
Yes.
And he's just like,
Gotta
oh,
go.
see you later.
Beast, take care of these kids.
Oh, my God.
Dude, I think Beast might have a problem.
I'm afraid of Beast. He's like, with pleasure.
I'm afraid of Mr. Beast.
I'm also the same, yes.
At least there's a little soul behind Beast.
Yeah,
This Beast.
Beast,
Yeah. The lights are off.
Lizard, however, under the watchful eye of his freaky-ass mannequins, is raising the cleaver over the baby, who is now conveniently completely covered by a small blanket.
Yes.
He raises it high as Doug spins, looking around at the houses. But when Lizard rips off the blanket before delivering the death blow, somehow, it's that pig.
Yeah.
Now you're just pissing me off.
What?
I don't know, man.
How the hell did Ruby do that? Is she fucking David Blaine? I'm confused. Now, I have heard that pigs love it.
Indeed.
And I guess it would be being alive because Lizard does spare it.
Yeah.
Right.
Instead, he growls with rage and screams out Ruby's name. Outside, Doug finally hears crying, and when he looks up at the high ridge, Ruby is there, scurrying away with the wailing baby. Doug shouts his daughter's name and runs for the hills. Back at the trailer, Bobby and Brenda are standing outside with their arms around each other. The baby's toy dangles on the fishing line high above, but when we press in on the spool where the wire is wrapped, it begins to move. This causes the toy to jostle. Someone has tripped the wire. At the sight of this, Brenda immediately sobs. She pleads, "No, no, no." When Bobby tries to go investigate, she holds him back. But Bobby just brings her with him, thrusting out his gun with one hand and holding his sister's hand with the other. They move past the vehicle containing their lost mother and sister and slowly navigate their steps along the wire. But they find that it's just a tumbleweed that the wind blew against it. Brenda is convinced that that's the end of it, but Bobby isn't so sure. He keeps his head on a swivel as they turn back to the trailer, but they stop when they see that the door of the Suburban is wide open. Lynn's stiff legs are visible, but when they go and look inside, they find that Ethel's body is gone.
You literally had a burglar alarm. How did you let them steal your mother?
Yeah, I don't know.
I'm so puzzled as to how this even happened. They are fucking swift.
Yeah.
Yes.
And sneaky as
Yeah.
hell.
Yeah.
Is it Solid Snake doing this?
Whose footprints are these? Bobby is furious. He snaps into action and tells Brenda to go get the trailer ready, but she's in panic mode. She collapses into sobs, asking again and again where their mother is. But Bobby pulls her together and tells her again to get the trailer ready, to remember what they talked about. He presses forward alone with his gun, following a trail of blood to the hills. His steps slow when he rounds the corner and finds someone hunched over one of the rocks. It's Papa Jupiter, remember him?
Yeah.
Kneeling over Ethel's dead body. Just as Bobby steps into view, he takes her heart out of her chest and sinks his teeth into it, chewing and growling animalistically. Bobby's face goes slack with horror, and the gasp that escapes his lips catches Jupiter's ear. His head jerks up, and the two lock eyes with the fleshy piece of Ethel's heart still hanging from Jupiter's lips.
I will be honest, you said remember him. I actually did not. I forgot completely about Jupiter.
Well, because
Yeah.
we have not seen him since Bob.
yeah.
You know, which is odd. But this is really Kathleen Quinlan lying here. They said that usually an actor would not want to do this and they would use a double. This is actually her.
Wow.
They cast her chest and then built a sculpt of an open chest cavity and then made a heart out of gelatin and just put it in there. And she's just laying there.
That's really cool.
Billy Drago had said in regards to this gelatin heart that they had lunch after this and he wasn't hungry. And so people were like, oh, did that, like, it grossed you out so much having to do that? And he's like, no, I ate so much gelatin heart that it ruined my appetite. Bobby takes off running and a growling Jupiter races after him. Bobby fires blindly behind him. As Brenda is readying propane tanks in the trailer, Hank Hill would be proud, Bobby falls. He takes the opportunity to turn and empty his clip in Jupiter's direction, but he keeps coming, roaring as he runs. Bobby scrambles to his feet and sprints to the trailer. Just before he enters, Jupiter snatches a pickaxe from his side and throws it. It flips, its point finding home in the side of the trailer next to Bobby, but Bobby is able to make it inside and slam the door.
I am a little confused why he ran away shooting like that all wild. I'm just assuming here, I have no idea, but from when Big Bob gave him the gun and he's like, he's in charge, he's whatever, and he's like, the safety zone, yeah, he was being a fool and being reckless with it, but I would imagine if that's your dad's, you would have some kind of training.
You know what you're doing.
Kind of something.
Yeah.
Why are you turn around, aim for the head, and like, dude, why are you doing that?
It is so disappointing because that's exactly it. But then you think about it and you're like, well, Big Bob was firing out into the night and wasting bullets
Yeah.
too.
He's like, just like I taught you.
Exactly.
Okay, then it's right. Never mind.
Bobby affixes a strip of matches to the bottom of the door with their hungry heads ready for the striker on the floor below. The propane tank hisses, but Brenda is by the window. She tries to open it, but she calls out to Bobby that it's stuck. Suddenly, Jupiter's fist punches through the glass and grabs her around the neck. Brenda screams, but Bobby hurries and finds a cord amongst the CDs on the shelf. He frees his sister from Jupiter's grip and wraps the cord around the man's wrists, tying him to the trailer. Jupiter continues to growl and roar, but Bobby and Brenda have made it to the window in the back. They jump out and run together to a safe distance. It's not long before Jupiter is able to pull himself free. Blood still streaked across his face. He walks back to the front door of the trailer. His lips lift into a sick smile as he throws the door open, but the match heads strike, and with an assist from the hissing propane tank, the trailer and maybe Papa Jupiter explode in a climbing ball of fire.
Taste the heat, not the meat.
Yeah.
And you're so right. There should be drops of Jupiter everywhere.
There should.
Yeah.
Yes. That's good.
Thank you.
I will say now too that why does Papa Jupiter look like a normal guy?
Yeah.
I don't know.
Because they're not mutants.
It doesn't seem with what you were saying about the original. Wasn't it like?
I don't know, because he's the gas station attendant's son. Jupiter is.
Yeah.
And he fathered all these children. But the thing is like, wouldn't these things happen through generations of living in these hills? Like that, I can't speak on the film that I haven't seen, but that confuses me.
Yeah.
Maybe someone can explain, and I'm sure they will, why I'm wrong about, about it taking generations for that to happen or whatever. But I'm not sure. And in that case, it would explain why Jupiter is not the same as them. But in this case, they all live here. They all live in the mines.
Yeah.
I'm confused. Like,
yeah, without getting any level of backstory outside of the nuclear testing, they're really.
Yeah. Meanwhile, Doug has scrambled up the hills and is in front of Ruby now. She continues to run with Catherine, but Doug is waiting for her with the shotgun pointed. She stops in her tracks, and the two just look at each other. But their silence is broken when Lizard jumps down from the cliff above Doug and tackles him. How the fuck he's out here?
Yeah.
When he was chasing Ruby? When he was yelling after Ruby?
Yeah.
Doug's chasing her, and now he's in front of both of them and waiting. I don't know. But maybe he has wings. He could.
He drank a Red Bull.
Yeah, there you go.
That's what it was. The gun clatters against the rocks as Lizard and Doug start to fight. Ruby finds safety in a small cave and watches this unfold while she holds the baby. Lizard is whooping Doug's ass and starts to swing the spike strip, slicing Doug when it makes contact with his skin. But when Lizard gets close enough, Doug shoves his finger into the hole in his thigh, and Lizard screams in agony. I don't know how he knows about this hole because he wasn't there.
Oh, yeah.
But he's got great instincts. Mm-hmm. And it worked.
Yeah.
Doug seems to have gained the upper hand, but Lizard swings the strip and hits him in the face. Doug goes down. Lizard bangs his head repeatedly against the dirt, but when he sees that Ruby has run off again with the baby, he abandons Doug and chases after her. He screams after the girl, who continues to flee. Doug is alone now, face down in the dirt. His breathing is ragged, but behind his lenses, Doug's eyes flutter. He catches sight of his wedding ring glinting on his bloody hand, and he finds the strength to get up. When Lizard finally catches Ruby, he snatches her foot, causing her to fall directly onto the baby.
Yeah.
I was like, oh, no.
I know.
It was bad.
That was my reaction. Oh, shit, the baby. Oh, yeah. It's not real.
It's fine. It's fine.
It's like, dude, you guys could have done another take of that.
It's like Ruby had really good intentions.
Yes, yeah.
And I will say the situation with the wedding ring that tugged at my heartstrings.
Yes, I agree.
I like that.
Yes.
I like the visual of it. I don't like that Doug has to keep getting his ass kicked and then be able to come back or to fight harder. Like,
it's the only way he knows how to fight.
yes.
When Lizard turns her around, Ruby kicks him in the face. But Doug has caught up with them now, and he swings the shotgun, hitting Lizard in the face with the butt of it. Lizard screams and backs away, but Doug continues to pursue him, screaming as well and beating his ass down the rocks. When Lizard tries to scramble away, Doug opens fire, shooting him first in the gut and then the neck. This second shot sends Lizard spinning, and triumphant music swells as Doug stands over him. He has the gun ready and kicks at Lizard, but Lizard is motionless and face down in the dirt, so instead of shooting one last time, Doug drops the gun next to Lizard and stumbles over to Ruby, who still clutches Catherine. I'm sure it'll be fine.
Right.
Doug, filthy and bloody, takes his daughter and holds her. When he plants a loving kiss on her soft forehead, he can't help but laugh. But behind him, Lizard gets to his feet with blood pouring from his mouth. Ruby's eyes go wide when she spots this, but for a moment, Doug is blissfully oblivious.
Yes.
He's like,
yes.
"Oh, got my baby back. my baby back." No. Cut that. Of course, Lizard grabs the shotgun, but as he aims it, Ruby comes sprinting toward him. She tackles Lizard, sending them both flying over the cliff and causing the shot that would have killed Doug to go wild into the air. We watch Lizard and Ruby's silhouettes fall out of frame until we hear a sickening thud. Doug looks over the cliff to see their bodies bloody and dead on the rocks below, and he gives no reaction.
No.
And it's completely his fault that Ruby's dead.
Yes.
It's totally his
Yes.
fault.
I understand, like, I don't know, it's a very foolish decision to say, you know, okay, well, he looks dead enough.
Yeah.
But to leave the shotgun right
It's
next to him.
Yeah.
Not only not
Yes.
doing the final
Yes.
shot, but leaving it like right next to his hand.
Mm-hmm.
Well, if we didn't, Ruby wouldn't save us, and then
And
That's
then
true.
Ruby wouldn't. But like, there are more people here. Those
I
little
know,
kids are
it's-
here. Like,
Yeah.
we don't know. Like, I don't know, dude. And then so in your mind, you've killed everyone and left those little. Did he kill the children?
Oh,
we don't
yeah.
we never see them.
Oh,
again.
well, he didn't attack the mom.
No.
Maybe Beast did.
No, yeah, we don't.
I don't know what he's up to.
Beast was the cleanup
He is,
crew.
Yeah.
he is gone.
So it's like, what are we doing? I don't know. It's just, I don't know.
And Ruby never did anything wrong in her
Nope.
life.
Nope.
No.
She took one for the team and doesn't even get any
Nope.
level of
Yeah.
gratitude.
And he
Yeah.
doesn't even look sorrowful.
No.
He's just like,
No.
damn, I better get back to the train.
It's crazy.
In the rubble of the trailer, past the debris and smoldering photo albums, Bobby and Brenda investigate. Plumes of black smoke obstruct their view, but there is still ragged and raspy breathing. It's Jupiter, still alive, despite being burned, impaled, and stuck to the ground, and exploded, and, you know, all the other things. When Bobby approaches him, Jupiter starts to cackle and kick out at him, but his glee is short-lived. Brenda screams as she sprints toward him, wielding Jupiter's very own pickaxe. She buries the point in the center of his head, and finally, Papa Jupiter is dead. I am thankful that we finally get to see something from Brenda besides crying.
Yes.
Like, I don't know.
I honestly feel like they should have set it up to where Jupiter is the lead mutant.
Uh-huh.
And that's who Doug faces off with. And after all that fucking horrible shit
Lizard.
that Lizard did, she should get to kill Lizard.
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah.
I don't know why it's not like that.
I mean, she got to kill the guy that killed her dad, I guess. But she doesn't know that he killed. No, did he? Who lit him on fire?
I don't know.
I thought Pluto had like a mechanical device.
Yeah,
I thought
No,
he
he
ordered
radioed
it.
in
Oh,
for
yeah.
someone.
He ordered the
yeah. yeah.
dude.
I don't know what's happening.
I don't know.
With the hill folk finally defeated, Brenda and Bobby wrap their arms around each other as she decides, let's get out of here.
What?
What?
Yeah. Where?
I don't know. I know the line sounds good
It does.
and looks
It
good on
does.
a page.
Yeah.
And also, they have no idea that Pluto and Lizard are dead.
so true. Oh my God. That is a line that you say maybe after you learn that Doug is back with Catherine.
Yes, yeah.
And you're all, this is the remainders of this family after this horribly tragic event. But she's like, let's go, bro. Like,
Yeah.
What about?
Yeah, we don't even know what happened to Doug or the baby or anybody else or the rest of these dudes. Just what happened here.
But Brenda's face breaks into a smile when she sees something. She lets go of her brother and runs toward it. Bobby turns to see, through the flames, Doug with Catherine and Beast.
Beast is back.
Yeah.
Beast
And
is
Doug and
back.
the baby. I mean, we're...
Yeah.
Beast is who we're most.
Yeah.
Everybody needs to keep one eye on Beast.
Yeah. He's got a taste for meat now. It's very dangerous.
He's living up to his name. Brenda and Bobby run to him and throw their arms around him and Catherine. Doug stands in their embrace, dazed. We pan out to see the survivors clinging to each other. Brenda, Bobby, Doug, Catherine, and Beast, finally safe. But the edges go dark, and it's revealed that we're watching them through a pair of binoculars up in the hills.
One of the kids, maybe.
Yeah, I don't know.
Big Mama.
Perhaps. After what you had mentioned about what the producers' intentions kind of were regarding
Ew.
Doug and Brenda, I really hope that that's not what they are hoping that is inferred.
I don't know
Yeah.
who the fuck would infer that. I would never think
Dude,
that.
I never thought it for a second until you said the producers wanted to leave it in.
Explicitly, yeah.
It's very strange because that's my little brother and sister now.
Yes.
That's not my wife's replacement if something happened.
And Bobby, you're my son now.
Yeah,
I'm
yeah.
Big Bob now.
Hold on. And Beast, I don't know.
Yeah.
You can hang around.
Beast,
Yeah,
you're
he's
the
there,
brother
yeah.
now. But it cuts to black, and the Valley of the Sun plays, and the credits roll. So, what did you guys think of The Hills Have Eyes?
I want to start off by giving a statement, and then I'll go into. That's gonna be a no for me, dog. Like I watching it again. The beginning, the family, the everything, the nuclear whatever, and the mutations, and again, I wanted mutants. That's what I thought. I just did not enjoy what was going on here. It was really weird. Like I said, the first 20 minutes or so, it's fine. I'm in there. Like, that's cool. I'm digging everything that's happening. And then we get into it and it's just like, oh no, everything is just doesn't make any sense. It again, and I know I keep harping on the mutant thing, but I would have liked that so much better. This just reads, like you said, T, like wrong turn. You know what I mean? It's not, it doesn't feel any different than what we got there. I liked the family again until everybody needed to fall apart and then be or say or do something for someone else to react or not react, but see it and then not tell anybody or whatever. It just, I mean, it just really felt like a lot of that. And like Doug, if he's our like final boy or whatever and he's there, please don't include that weird shit of him checking out his wife's little sister. Don't do that. If he's kind of a tech dude or whatever, we're supposed to think he's a little nerdy or whatever. I'm fine with all that. That's okay. Don't put him in there and make him seem like a fucking dick. And then, you know what I mean? That's wrong as fuck. Mm-hmm. And then you want me to later on be like, yeah, Doug, kill him. Mm-hmm. No, dude, that's crazy. It again, him getting his ass kicked in order to get up and fight back or whatever. Same thing with young Bobby or junior Bobby, whatever. You like, yes, sir, I'm here and whatever. Your dad's a detective. We're all this. And then immediately, same thing with Big Bob. He's at the store and he's shooting wild and he doesn't notice what's going on. He does the same thing later. It's like, I thought we had these characters established, what you were showing us or what little you were telling us so we can follow them.
It's like they were what they needed to be in any given moment.
Right.
Right.
And then it turns into that, and that's kind of, to me, what the movie felt like the whole time. I need you to just scream and be loud or whatever, and then I need you to run off into the distance and then realize you're running the wrong way because your family's being attacked, and I need you to cater to your dead father-in-law just long enough to where your wife dies and then your baby gets snatched away, and it's...
Make sure
why?
you take him down.
Yes, yeah. It's just, there's so many things that it's like, I did not understand what was going on.
What does that mean? Press F to pay respects or something?
Yeah. But yeah, I'm glad that I got a chance to experience this, and I have it in the file. You know what I mean? It's there. I'll be honest. Do I feel like I need to watch this again? Probably not. But you know what I mean? If you like it, fantastic. You know what I mean? That's cool. I did not.
I feel basically the exact same way. And it is, I mean, it takes all kinds.
Yeah.
It is different strokes for different folks. Please don't sing that Cher commercial.
Oh, no.
But I feel like I'm gone. I'm lost.
It's in my head now.
Yeah,
Thanks
great.
a lot.
Fantastic.
Thanks a lot.
I think that, this film, I appreciated it a lot more whenever I was 15.
Yeah.
And it was this like brutal and gruesome and edgy thing.
Mm-hmm.
I think revisiting it for the show, I just see so much more about it that I just don't like.
Yeah.
Things that just did not work for me that I think worked better for me whenever I was a younger age.
Yeah.
And I think that happens sometimes. The films that you kind of have this relationship with much younger, sometimes it builds that powerful nostalgia to where when you're older, you can forgive it for those things.
Right.
But this didn't have that staying power like we used to really watch House of a Thousand Corpses.
Yeah.
To where I'll be like, look, this might not be whatever, but it's House of a Thousand Corpses.
Yeah.
I just don't feel that for this film, and it never grew to that level for me.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. And especially as an adult watching it, just like watching this dude, Doug, you're like, you have everything on paper that should work. But then you do have those weird moments. You're like, dude, I don't want to fucking root for this dude perving on his sister-in-law.
Yeah.
And that's what they want you to do. And then the weird thing from the producers, I'm like, what the hell?
Yeah.
I was like, I'm sorry, what?
Yeah.
And he was an asshole whenever he was talking about Big Bob and everything. But it's like, I understand. He's frustrated.
Yeah.
So I get that. I can even at some level forgive that.
Right.
But then the other stuff, it's just like, I don't know. I don't like the way that they handled Brenda. I really don't like the way they handled her and Lynn, their arcs.
Yeah.
Yep.
I feel like that's kind of a wasted opportunity. And again, if it's how it goes in the original, fine.
Mm-hmm.
But you have carte blanche to change anything you want, and you kind of leave it to where it is just so unsatisfying when you could have had a really cool revenge story.
Yeah.
And I know, you can't get mad at a film for not being this when it is this or whatever it is. But yes, I can. And I will.
But I'm doing it right now.
My thing is always about missed opportunities. And it's a missed opportunity to me to not go down that path.
Right.
And for other people, it might be incredibly successful, and that's fine.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
But I do think that there are some positives.
Yeah.
I think I didn't even get to mention it, but I did like the music in this film.
Yes.
Okay, yeah.
It was Tom and Andy
Yeah.
who did Mothman Prophecies.
Yeah, yeah.
And a few others. And I like the cinematography. It was Maxime Alexandre
Yeah.
who did Maniac.
Yeah.
Like,
it looks good.
it does. The production design, the work that they did, building that town, some things being CG, which I would never guess.
Yes.
I think that the makeup effects are fantastic, and even the deaths and the gore and the violence.
Yes.
I think that it all looks fantastic. For me, it is really down to characterization, character arcs, and narrative.
Yeah.
And I feel like without those things working at all for me, it is really hard for me to really want to return
Yeah.
to rewatch it. But I mean, it's an early 2000s horror remake. They did what they wanted to do. It's also too long.
It is.
Yeah.
It is.
I didn't want to say
Yes.
that. I like the red credits.
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
You don't see that very often.
True. My turn?
Yes.
I agree. I think that this one is interesting because I can't say that there is no entertainment value because that's not true. I think that the cast, for the most part, does really well. I think that a lot of the times their characters are just very frustrating, but the actors do a great job.
Yeah.
K&B always fucking delivers. These effects look incredible. even the digital effects, some of it wasn't as successful, but a lot of it, it's like, this is how you should use it, slightly enhancing things that are physically there. I think that that's really fucking cool. I think that the inclusion of the kind of nuclear subplot is fucking awesome. It just makes it all that more disappointing when we don't really dive into that. We don't get a backstory of these mutants and their relationships with each other, their relationship to the gas station attendant. I guess we get this very heavy-handed monologue from Big Brain about their intentions and their motivations, but it's like, I really would love a story where we explore how they have been victimized, how they were turned into these monsters. Who is the real monster? I would love an exploration of that, but when they're doing the things that we watch them do in this film, I have no sympathy. I can't wait until they kill you. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I think that this one, and we can kind of slide into ratings too, because I think I've kind of ranted throughout my issues and what I do like and what I don't. But that makes this one very difficult to score, because a lot of the film, it looks fantastic. Like you were saying, T, the production design. I love the sets where these mannequins are set up in this town.
Yeah.
It's so fucking cool. That opening, that title sequence, I loved. I thought it was so cool. Probably the first 20, 30 minutes, I think, is really, really great. It just gets to a point where it's like, oh, we're doing this?
Yeah.
And so it ultimately ends up feeling disappointing, but it feels disappointing because that beginning is strong.
And you saying that, I think that's what made it feel bad for me.
Yeah.
Was that and you are completely right. The acting is fine.
Oh, yeah.
It is.
Nobody's doing a bad job. It is those three things, like you said. It's like the fucking Horsemen or some shit of the apocalypse movie. It just did. It doesn't matter how good this looks. It doesn't matter how good the music is. If nobody is likable and they're so frustrating and the story isn't working, it's just pretty.
Yeah.
That's it.
And we like pretty. We appreciate pretty. But it's like, y'all had something really fucking cool here. And you had this story at its core, and you were doing something original with it that we don't get a lot. And so, and you got fucking Ted Levine, dude.
Yeah.
Yes.
I don't know. I think I've settled on a score because this is a very conflicting one for me to kind of pin down. So in my head, I'm like, okay, I'm going to give an extra point for that, an extra half a point for the inclusion of the nuclear stuff. But then I'm going to take that half point away because you didn't really do anything with it.
Right.
But then I'm going to put it back because it can be. Because the production design. Because the look of that testing base.
Yeah.
Because a lot of this is really cool. It's just, I really would have loved a little more substance behind it. And again, why are so many of our cannibals across all of these films not really eating people?
Yeah.
Why? I think that there's so much commentary as well about the American dream that we don't fully delve into.
Yeah.
I think that there is these like instances of unlikely heroes in Doug and in Ruby that is not explored. There, shit about family with Papa Jupiter and Big Bob. There is this juxtaposition, this duality, this like, again, don't peek behind the pretty curtain because there's some scary shit in there, which is what America is.
Yeah.
So it's like, this is so fertile for these conversations, for these explorations, and for the opportunity for them to be really scary. And we just didn't do it.
No.
We just didn't do it. I know everybody's probably like, it's the fucking Hills Have Eyes. What do you expect? I expected more, and I'm very disappointed in you. So on a scale from 1 to 10 maliciously murderous mutants in quotation marks, sorry, I'm done. I'm going to settle on a 5. Maliciously murderous mutants.
Okay.
I think that there are aspects that I really love about this film, but they are so, I don't want to say overshadowed, but kind of overshadowed by the disappointment that I feel when these really awesome aspects aren't explored to their full potential. But at the same time, really great effects from K&B.
Yeah.
Really good performances from our cast. Excellent production design. But at the end of the day, when the credits roll, just a little disappointed.
Yeah.
So I will now open up the floor to you.
No, yeah, I probably shouldn't ramble on too long. I've kind of already said as well how I feel. And it is, I think, both of y'all kind of, listening to y'all, it is just that. Because again, the positives, like you said, T, it's beautiful. Everybody does what they're supposed to do. That town, I fucking loved that.
Yes.
So much. The beginning for 20, 25 minutes, you had me. Like straight up, I was eating out of your hand.
Yeah.
Like I was taking the nuclear waste and just pouring it on myself. Please, like the mutants, again, I fucking loved seeing that. And I was like, oh, hell yeah. Like I said, the Fallout vibe that I felt from it, the old music, the old timey fucking store, them out in the desert. I was like, yes, 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 yes. And then when we get out there and the car breaks down and then everybody's just their own like different character now that they need to be, it was just weird. And it is that I want to see the sisters do more. Nope, didn't happen.
Mm-hmm.
I wanted young Bobby to do something else. Nope, he just was just kind of there. Doug, and like you said, Doug, it was I get it. He's we're supposed to be our boy and we're supposed to I didn't really ever feel that. Like I never really felt that. I liked Big Bob for what tiny part we had with him.
Mm-hmm.
He wasn't the greatest, but
But he felt like a real person.
Yeah, but he felt authentic. And it was like, okay, it is very weird, you know what I mean? And I think the score I'm going to give it, I feel like it's fair for me because a lot of the effects and the way it looks and all that is doing the heavy lifting.
Mm-hmm.
It is just me not really, like you said, the story. God damn. The character is not really doing anything other than, okay, now you go wait over there. When they attack your family, now you can come back. Why? Like and again, I get it's The Hills Have Eyes, same thing. But there's other movies that are crazy or low budget or whatever that understand and do it, and I like it.
Mm-hmm.
And if you like it, that's fine. This just not for me. I can unfortunately stay on the fence like you. I do have to jump over, but I'm gonna be close. I'll hold your hand while you stand up there. But I for me, on a scale from 1 to 10, maliciously murderous mutants, I'm going to give The Hills Have Eyes a 4.5. Would I, and no, like whatever, would I watch this again? If you wanted to watch it or if we were doing it as a group or whatever.
Why not?
Sure. Would I choose to do it myself? Probably not. You know what I mean? But I wanted mutants. Mutant fam, stand up. Joe Bob, what's up? You know what I mean? I just don't understand. That's what I wanted.
I don't really know that I can add very much more. I do want to commend some of the emotional beats that I thought worked really well.
True.
Yes.
I think that Kathleen Quinlan, fantastic.
Yeah.
And I don't know. I feel like it's one of those things that it's like you have that skeleton here.
Mm-hmm.
And I really, really would have preferred a different set of meat and skin. Because what you have to start with, I'm in.
Yes.
And it's just very disappointing the way that it goes and how it turns out. But I mean, there's definite positives here. It's just one of those things where it's like, everybody has their own taste.
Yeah. Yeah.
This one just didn't work for us, unfortunately. But,
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I was particularly bummed because I know you don't really like early 2000s stuff.
No.
I do. I think a lot of them are so bad it's good.
Mm-hmm.
I enjoy watching them and revisiting this kind of era of horror. Some of them are so funny to me. So I thought that if I didn't like it, I would at least have that. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So yeah, it just
And it's very unfortunate.
Yeah.
And this only bolsters my argument.
Well,
No, I'm just kidding.
you get this one.
All right, just one time.
That's it. House of Wax though.
Like I said. So for me, out of 10 maliciously murderous mutants, I will be joining JP and also giving it a 4.5 out of 10. I wanted to give it that 5, but it is honestly, the more we talked about it, I was like, God, damn. Yeah.
I came between a 6 and a 6.5, and as we were talking, I was like, "Oh no, not at all." Well, that's all from us at Podmortem. What would you rate The Hills Have Eyes, and what should we watch next? Let us know on Instagram at the Podmortem. Be sure to follow us on Twitter and like our Stairhole Productions page on Facebook. Be sure to follow each of us on Instagram and Blue Sky at Blood and Smoke, at JuggaloDaddy84, and at TravisMWH. Thanks again to Original Cinematic for sponsoring this week's episode. Please consider pledging to our Patreon, where you'll get over 250 hours of bonus content, our monthly schedule, access to our Discord server, and the opportunity to help us decide which films to cover. And if you're looking for Podmortem or Stairhole Productions merch, follow the link in our episode notes. Stay tuned until after the music for a special shout out to our Wendigo Getter patrons. And remember, beware the road less traveled. We're all just one shortcut away from the American dream turning into a nightmare. Until next time. Thank you for staying tuned for a special thank you to our Wendigo Getter patrons.
Woo, yeah.
Excellent work. A special thank you to
Chris Ontiveros, Kristen Lofton, Megan Martinez, Kimberly Bass, Sophie Hodson, Anthony Jerome M., Jordan Nash, Kent Morton, Lala Tamez, Travis Anissa Hunter, Miguel Myers ATX, Jennifer Perez, Allison O'Neill, Carissa, TJ and Angie Bronson, Andy Teague, Applin Ontiveros, Karima Rhodes, Kimberly Kleindienst, Bobby Holmes, Donna Eason, JD Rizak, Molly Gerhardt, Armand Spasto, Aaron Aguirre, Eggy, William Barry, Charity Oxner, Amanda Six, Mandy Rainwater, Eden, Jordan Roberts, Dylan, Spencer Montalvo, Pancake the Panda, John Ramos, Michael Newting, Alexis Roberts, Itzy M., Gary Horton, Kate Lamp, Carlos and Sydney, Jessica Hunter, Helena Rudder, Alan Johnston, Mariah, Livy Fun, Scott Troutman Wise, Mozzie Bear, Dave Burke, Emma Hagel Kissinger, Valerie G., Emiliana, CB, Taylor Santana, Will Lewison, Angelique, Smelly Poo Poo Head, Beth Bauer, Cookie, Esperanza J., Jason Kyle, OKC, Joshua Rumley, Danielle Peralta, Sawyer Reese Farr, Sahara, Girl That's Scary, Cassandra, Andrea Simmons, Ashley Higuera, William and Xxena Rush, Ryan Brom, Megan Ochoa, Laura Lassiter, Eileen O., Marissa E., Henry F., Megan M., Strangely Sarah, Christy Beck, Nancy and Andy, Amanda Lopez, Andy Terrell, Erica Morin, Tris Wynn, K.87,
Mariah Jensen, Carrie A., Lonnie Lono, Powell, Kayla E., Maggie H., Murder Stina, Kristen Marcy, Ori 81 Bariqua, Look Like That One Girl, Bog Boy, Felnez 63, Alita Pui, Probably My Jugs, Kate Thackeray, Wade Pack, A Lizard, Bay J., Jay Rich, Topher Williams, Elena Metler, Valerie K., Christy Lee Kruger, Professor of Humanities, Laura McCarricker, Naomi, Josh Smith, Autumn Green, Abby Kopp, Crystal 831, Skank Sinatra, Morgan Alexander, Tony Osteen, Julie Fredborg, Rihanna S., Daniel Taylor, Anna Kate, Heather Ortiz, Kim H., August, Jenny May, Old School Cool, Malik Caselli Armstrong, Scarly D., Toya Shea, Katie, Martin Shaw, Star, Tyler J., Cam Davies, Patrick Hoagland, Raven, Wesley Tart, Kristen Jackson, Jacob Nordberg, Samantha, Damian Grant, Half Price Horror, Clemmy, Nisi Nay, Jason X Rules, Aaron Norman, Victoria Smith, Patricia A. Graham, Erasmo Peña, Danielle Wright, Chuck D., Tabitha Thomas, Connie Lingus, Richard Murray, Irene, Sally Slater 52, Jordan McCarthy, Rosalind Harnias, Emily Rance, Amy, Lisa and Kathy, Mike H., Christian Sadler, Hannah, Sarah Jack, Casey L., Evelyn Knight, Paula Garcia, Nikki M., Ghastly Grandad, Morgan and Alexandra Saldivar, Lisa Sykes, Kelsey Niemeyer Cook,
Martina LaForce, JG, Morgan Novello, Ashley, Alex M., Brandon C., Gordon Sutherland, Georgia Renland, Ashley Poe, Diana Joe, Connor Gormley, Carrie Parker, Katie Face, Jane Pillsbury, Caitlin Asher, Mia Franz, Pooh Bear, Spicy Caldera, This is the Zodiac Speaking, Jason the Ghost, Moldy Tic Tac, Brian Ward, Tanner Rutgers, Gremlin Keeper 22, Sam Spade 666, Veronica, Kristen Rhodes, Daniel Laurent, Carmito, TVR, A Very Sweepy Baby, Nicholas Rage, A Lazy Boy, Nicola Williams, Sadison Miles, Stu Corbett, Brick O, Jaden Nicole, Lost Fan 08, George L. Robertson, Mercedes X Bleeple, Joe Miller Apologist, Jalen Perry, Cool Trainer Elijah, Mrs. Bloomingdale, Sierra Duncan, Renee Hart, Meg Likes Sleep, Final Boy, Alani, Nosferatu Dude, Elizabeth Thompson, Joey, Michelle Nicole, The Lipstick Demon, Less Than Zombie, Franklin Badge, Sean Reeves, The Kryptonian Orphan, Melissa B, Elena C, Jillian Munford, Evil Chris, Rex Term Raoul, Witchy Poop 19, Brian Avers, Danielle Milton, Instant Horror, Just Give Me One Wish Like Ray J, Skin Deep, Christian Salvatierra, Ashay Guevara, Aaron Mr. Clean Bouchard, Henny Kravitz, Francisco Amos, Paunchy Cat, Christina Perez, Buddy Boy Mac, Revamped a Rewatch Podcast, Sarah Coolidge, Showlivia, Film Fiend, Catherine Clark, Moonfire, Brandon Brown, Jessica Hernandez, Camry, Amy Shipley, Like the Donuts, and Jack. Thank you so much.
Thank each and every one of you.
Yes, thank you all. We appreciate each and every one of you because you guys are the bomb.
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
Is that poor taste? Mm-hmm. Okay. Then I swiftly apologize and I'm ending the show. Until next time.